Welcome to continuing coverage of ESPN2's opening day, presented by the Home Depot. And on a cool and breezy night in Oakland, California, our Day 1 festivities conclude with the defending wildcard champion Oakland A's taking on the revamped Texas Rangers, a battle that has a chance to go full force into September. This is a night filled with stars. Dave Justice bringing his World Series rings to Oakland. Rafael Palmeiro continues a Hall of Fame run alongside the great catcher Ivan Rodriguez. Juan Gonzalez is back in Texas, and the great Alex Rodriguez, maybe the most complete player in the game, on the diamond tonight. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Oakland. I'm Dave O'Brien, along with the Hall of Famer Joe Morgan. Delighted that you're joining us. And Joe, when you talk about the American League West, you have to talk about pitching. It might be the best division pitching-wise in all of baseball. On the mound tonight, Mark Mulder, the 21-game winner for the Oakland A's. So you know what? The Texas Rangers, if they are revamped and they are going to score plenty of runs, they have a chance in this division. They're tested right away.
Well, you're right. Baseball purists will tell you that great pitching will stop great hitting. Well, we're going to get a chance to test that right away because Mark Mulder is one of the best pitchers in all of the American League. And this Texas offense is just has so unlimited potential. When you look up and down this lineup, not only do they hit for high average, they can hit the ball out of the ballpark. Mark Mulder better bring his curveball with him tonight, or I'm going to side with the hitters.
Oh, it's a murderer's row that they've got there in Texas. Last year, of course, they hit 246 home runs, far and away the most in Major League Baseball, but they still finished last. The Rangers' starting rotation finished with an embarrassing ERA of 6 last year. They signed Shan-Ho Park to better that. The ace is on the hill tonight for Texas.
Opening night baseball is presented by the Home Depot. The Home Depot, driving down the cost of home improvement. And in part by New Balance, makers of performance footwear and apparel. By Subway, fresh-made sandwiches on fresh baked bread. Subway, eat fresh. And by Dry Lock, guaranteed to stop water.
It's game 1 from Oakland, California, the first of 162. A good night to pitch, one would think, as the temperature's into the 60s and it's very windy. So nice to have you along for our opening night as you look at Jerry Narron, the manager of the Texas Rangers, and despite a payroll around triple digits, Texas finished dead last in the West last season, a record of 73 and 89. Quietly, though, they won more than they lost in the second half. They pulled it together a little bit. They went 38 and 37. Aaron taking over for Johnny Oates about 18 games into the season. And they'll be facing the most talented pitching staff in baseball in their first series. Let's get a look at the Rangers starting lineup. A couple of new faces. Carl Everett is in center field. Hank Blaylock, the third baseman, a serious candidate for Rookie of the Year. And some serious bats in the middle of that lineup with A-Rod, Juan Gonzalez, and Rafael Palmeiro. And Joe, all of them drove in more than 123 runs last year.
It doesn't get any better than this. These have to be the 3 top sluggers in a row in all of baseball. All of them are capable of hitting over 40 home runs, driving in over 150. They could set a record in Texas this year. I really believe that because you have Everett at the top, who's also a great hitter. You have Ivan Rodriguez. I mean, this is just an awesome lineup. But again, it's going to be tested because there's some good pitching in the American League West, and they're going to be able to see if they can shut down these Texas Rangers.
Blaylock coming out of the minor leagues, the third baseman, part of a crop of third basemen. We're going to be stars. The left-hander Mark Mulder on the hill. The lanky southpaw leads the Oakland super staff into the season with the first opening night honors he's had. Led the American League with 21 wins last year, and especially here in Oakland, untouchable. He went 11-2.
Well, not only that, I mean, he pitched 229 innings. That's a lot of innings for a young pitcher, but he got better as the season went along, which is unusual also. But he has a great curveball, and if he has his curveball, I think he can keep this Texas Ranger offense under control. But if he does not have the curveball and has to rely mainly on his fastball and changeup, he could have a problem. Let's take a look at the defense for the Oakland Athletics. A little different here. You have Chavez at third base, who won his first Gold Glove this past season. And there he is getting his Gold Glove. And that has to be an honor. The first Gold Glove you win is quite an honor. It's kind of like your first Major League base hit. You'll never forget it.
Mulder, 6'6". He's a big one, 215 pounds. A 24-year-old out of South Holland, Illinois. And we are underway in a chilly night here in Oakland. Frank Catalano who is the designated hitter, coming off a big year. And he is the answer to the question, who led that team in hitting a season ago? He rolls out to Randy Velarde, the second baseman. One up and one down to get started tonight. And that'll bring up Carl Everett for his first at bat for the Texas Rangers here in 2002.
Carl Everett.
Most of the Texas Ranger hitters had pretty good springs. Most of them hit well over 300. Hit a few home runs, so none of them coming to this season in a slump.
Well, Carl Everett certainly coming here to Texas with a lot of baggage as he goes after the first pitch and flares a foul for a strike. After a tumultuous career, and that's to put it kind, in Boston. Everett last season hitting .257 for the Sox with 14 homers and 58 runs batted in. And flies this one to right field, backing up Dave Justice.
Well, there's that curveball, although he hung it, but the speed got him. His curveball's so good, it'll either get you with the break, meaning it breaks straight down, or the change of speed. That got him with the change of speed right there.
So A-Rod coming up to bat for the first time on the new year after a spectacular season in 2001, hitting .318, 52 home runs with 135 runs batted in. And his favorite opponent last season was none other than the A's. The best staff around. He hit them at .342 with 9 homers.
Well, he started right off last year. They started here in Oakland when he came here, and he got off to a good start. He went 3 for 4 and then 2 for 4. I mean, he was swinging the bat very well at the beginning. He has hit more home runs than any other hitter in the American League in the last 2 years, which is surprising to most people.
Juan Gonzalez up next, and that's just a tad high. Behind the plate tonight, Rick Reed with the balls and strikes. Tim Cheetah at first. Mark Wegner makes the calls at second, and it's Bill Welke at third. This evening's opening night judiciary. Fouled off by A-Rod.
Well, one thing I'm noticing from Mulder, I saw him pitch a lot last year, especially down the stretch. His fastball doesn't seem to have quite as much pop on it tonight as it did at the end of last season. And that may be the reason that curveball wasn't quite as sharp either.
In front of Rodriguez, 1 ball, 2 strikes, 2 down, bases empty here in the first. And again fought off by Rodriguez. This is not his favorite opponent. A .616 career earned run average against Texas and a 2-2 record. They're trying to get them 1-2-3 here in the first inning. And again the 1-2 into the dirt. Well, if the A's are to return to postseason play for the 3rd straight year, they'll do it on starting pitching. The A's had 4 starters last season who finished in the American League's top 10 in earned run average. Art Howe can roll out 4 outstanding starters. Bounced up there by Mulder.
Well, I think what we're seeing here is Mulder saw the first breaking ball he threw to Everett was hanging. So now he's trying to make it sharper because he knows he doesn't want to make the same mistake with Rodriguez. So when you try to throw it a little harder, he's snapping it in the dirt.
The rest of this vaunted young staff:
Tim Hudson, Barry Zito, Corey Lytle.
26 or younger across the board. Deep fly into left center field, but Long is calling off Giambi. And it's a 1-2-3 inning for Mark Mulder. So he breezes through in the first. Now it's Chan-Ho Park's turn as he'll make his debut for Texas in a moment. Well, the Rangers did not score against Mark Mulder in the top half of the first. And so the A's under Art Howe come to bat for the first time. Art in his 7th season managing the A's. He finished 2nd in the American League Manager of the Year for the 3rd straight year last season. Here's his lineup card. Jeremy Giambi will lead things off. Randy Velarde, the second baseman. Scott Hatterberg, one of the new faces, coming over from Boston and filling quite a void there, left by Jeremy's brother, who is, of course, wearing pinstripes now, David Justice, also coming over from the New York Yankees and having appeared in the playoffs 9 of the last 10 years. And, Joe, they really look to him for leadership inside their clubhouse, and he's giving it willingly. He really likes the role.
Well, David Justice is, you know, he's a veteran player that's learned a lot about how to play the game, and he also is proven that he's a winner, not only here but other places. Not only in New York, I should say, but other places. David Justice is the guy that they're going to have to lean on. He's going to have a good year if they're going to be able to contend in the West. He will take a lot of the pressure off of Chavez and other player hitters in this lineup.
And after 6 full seasons inside pitcher-friendly Dodger Stadium, Chan Ho Park decided to roll the dice and gamble on the American League and hitter-friendly Arlington, Texas. 15 wins last year for L.A.
Well, the key is if he can throw strikes, especially early in the ball game. A lot of times at the beginning of the game, he's up with his fastball, and that can get him in trouble. But we'll have to see. If he has this control, he's just like Mark Mulder. They can dominate the hitters.
Facing 6 left-hand bats tonight in the Oakland lineup, the first of which is Jeremy Giambi.
And this is very unusual if you look at it, Giambi as a leadoff hitter. He didn't steal 1 base last year.
Well, the A's, one of those teams without the traditional leadoff man on the roster. If they had the Jack Rabbit, he'd be at the top of their order.
Yeah, but and also if you look at the A's last year, they didn't steal a lot of bases even with Johnny Damon here. They're a kind of team that just tries to get on base.
A respectable .391 on-base percentage from Giambi, who came in a little lighter, dropped about 15 pounds with a very serious offseason workout program, with .283 with 12 home runs. He'll get a little pop at the top of the order with Giambi. They think he can hit 20, maybe 25 home runs. Fouled off to the right for a strike.
I don't think they put him in the leadoff spot to go up and take a lot of pitches and try to throw a walk. He's just going to hit the way he normally does, and that's to be patient and try to get a ball that he can hit.
Randy Velarde on deck, and then it's Scott Hatterberg, the designated hitter, and Justice, the cleanup man. Terrence Long led off a little last year. He's hitting 7th tonight. That one knocked into left field for a base hit. So Jeremy Giambi with a single to left jumps on Chan Ho Park with a single. And it's Velarde next.
And let's take a look at the defense behind Chan Ho Park for the Texas Rangers. They've got some new players in the outfield, especially. Carl Everett's a guy that they're going to have play center field. I mean, they're dependent on him to make their defense better. Juan Gonzalez, of course, in right, and Hank Blaylock at third base.
Everett with a lot of room to patrol out there in center field on a windy night in Oakland. And Juan Gonzalez in right field. And the first pitch off the corner for a ball to Velarde, the former Yankee who beat out Frank Menechino for the starting second base job. Though Art Howe says both will play quite a bit. He's going to go with whoever's hot at the moment. Randy played for the A's in '99 and 2000. Also played for Texas last year in 297 for them in 78 games before moving to the Yankees. Fouled off to the left.
I would have to think, Dave, that when we see the Oakland A's later in the season, this will not be the order of their lineup. I'm looking at Miguel Tejada with 30-plus home runs, drove in 100 runs, hitting 6th. Terrence Long, who is an RBI man, hitting 7th. And that's basically the only speed they have in the ball club. And for them to be hitting that low in the order, I don't think it's going to last.
Giambi with a short lead at first base, and that one knocks him down and hits it. Velarde got drilled. And he's still down. Got him up around the shoulder. Ivan Rodriguez helping him up, but only as far as his knees. So immediately Chan Ho going up and in on Velarde. That one got away. It'll put runners at first and second with nobody out. You can see Velarde trying like heck to get out of the way. Had no chance. That one found him.
Well, one of the things I talked about was that he's up in the strike zone. He releases the ball high a lot early in the ball game. And this is one of those pitches that was up and it got away from him, and he throws so hard when that ball starts to tail and chase you that you really do not have a lot of time to get out of the way. You know, watch, it's supposed to be a fastball away, and look at that. It starts off the plate inside and continues to run in. I mean, it looked like it may have gotten him on the hand. Let's take a look. Yeah, it did. It got the back of his hand. That is very dangerous because when that bat is pinned against your hand like that and the ball hits it, I mean, that's when you get broken bones.
Bud Rodriguez coming off his own injury season, taking a long look at Velarde, helping him up, and especially on a cold night, it's going to feel like a handful of bees for the next 2 or 3 innings, isn't it?
Well, you're going to hope that he gets lucky. A lot of times, if you're able to fall out of the way and have your hand relaxed, you can just hit it, and it won't hurt for a long period of time. And he's going to be able to stay in the game. That's good. So maybe it didn't get him as solidly as we thought it did.
So Velarde aboard, moving Giambi to second base. Let's take a listen to it as he gets hit by the pitch. Randy Velarde.
Well, you can hear the ball pin his hand against the bat. That's the sound you hear.
So Park in immediate trouble. Hatteberg with a chance for some damage in his first at bat for Oakland. And at least for now, he takes Jason Giambi's spot in the lineup, the number 3 hole. Hatteberg was really the A's biggest spring surprise. He made the team as a DH on the strength of a .393 spring average and 5 homers. And yet another lefty hitter, as if the A's needed another. 2 on, nobody out. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Yeah, I was talking about the fact that they have all their speed at the middle of the lower half of the lineup. The A's have always been a team that was unusual offensively in that they try to work you into account and get a lot of walks, try to get on base, but they really do not run. They do not hit and run a lot. They just kind of wait for the home run or wait for someone to drive you in.
Check the swing. And it's 2-1. On deck, David Justice.
And I've always felt that puts a lot of pressure on your team when you do not have some speed at the top to change the way that the pitchers have to throw to the hitters. If you get some speed on base, they have to use their fastball more. They have to use hard stuff more, and that helps the hitter behind you. I think the Yankees have always been good at letting you know that you're going to have to throw strikes and you have to throw fastballs to their hitters.
Swatted at, fouled away by Hatteberg, and you know, a lot is made, and justifiably so, about the philosophy in the Oakland organization to be patient, to be disciplined, to take walks, to really go for the high on-base percentage over anything else. But being a disciplined hitter doesn't necessarily mean you take a ton of walks. Right. It means you're fearless enough to work deep into counts, right? Right.
You work into the count to get your pitch. You try to get the count 2-1, you know, get the hitters counts 2-0, 2-1, 3-1 a hitters count. That's what you try to do, but you still have to attack the ball.
The 2-2 from Park. And could be a double play Young. On to Rodriguez, 1 to Palmeiro. He dug it out for 2. The scoop by Rafael Palmeiro. Down to third moves Giambi, but a big double play ball from Chan-Ho Park.
Well, you're going to see a lot of that, and I don't mean to be that harsh, but when you do not have speed in your third spot, you're going to have a guy hitting with a lot of runners on base. And, I mean, you can see this is not a very quickly turned double play, and it's not even close at first base. And that's the reason that you have speed at the top of your lineup, to stay out of double plays, to keep innings going. But if you're going to have a ball club that has a lot of double play hitters in it, then you're going to struggle scoring runs. And if you stack them all together.
Well, Giambi waiting to score at third, but with 2 down, and Dave Justice will try and pick him up. That's in for a strike. Dave, one of those guys who it seems has been around forever. That's because every October he's in the playoffs. 9 of the last 10 years, in fact. And he has played in more playoff games than anyone in the history of the game. 107.
When I talked to Dave before the ball game today, he said that he felt like he had lost some of his aggressiveness. And I agreed with him because I watched him in the World Series last year in the playoffs when he did play. He was not aggressive. He said he's been taking too many strikes, and he just has to be more aggressive at the plate.
Just 241 last season, a disappointing campaign for the Yankees, and he's going to roll out here to A-Rod to end the inning. So it started out very well for Oakland, but the double play killed the rally. Juan Gonzalez will be coming up to bat. Look at this lineup. Gonzalez, Palmeiro, and A-Rod next.
Right field.
Well, the new Texas ace, Chan-Ho Park, wriggles off the hook, gets a double play ball, and so we're still scoreless, heading for the top of the second. Joe Morgan, Dave O'Brien from Oakland. And our finale of the day, a marathon day of baseball. It's been a terrific day and night. That one slapped down the right field line, but fouled by Juan Gonzalez, the right fielder. Coming off a season in which he hit .325 with 35 homers. And with Cleveland, 140 runs batted in. Returning to Texas,
where he won 2 Most Valuable Player awards, I might add. This guy is a special player. I mean, he has proven that he can hit for a high average. He's proven that he's an RBI man.
The left-hander missing up top for ball, 1-1.
He's gone through spells where he's driven in more runs than games played. You know, he's 110 and 105 or something. He is a very special player. There's his average season right there for 10 years. Look at that.
Not too bad. 115 RBIs a season. In for a strike from Mulder. And he's in front of Gonzalez. Palmeiro next, and then Ivan Rodriguez. Gonzalez really back in a comfort zone. He wasn't totally happy outside of Texas and Detroit and Cleveland, although obviously had a very productive year for the Indians. A wave and a miss, and it's the first strikeout of 2002 for Mulder. One gone.
Well, you have to give Gonzalez credit for, I guess, making a mistake and forcing him to trade him in the first place. Good changeup down and away. Gonzalez has always had, a long swing, but he's always able to handle pitches. He can handle off-speed pitches. He can handle a fastball. Not many pitches that you can get him out with on a consistent basis.
Base is clear for Rafael Palmeiro, the first baseman.
When I looked at the statistical sheet today, I mean, it was just shocking to me that Palmeiro has had such poor luck against Mulder. I mean, he has struck out 9 out of 17 at bats, if I remember correctly, just looking at it.
He didn't have a whole lot of luck against this entire staff a year ago. He hit just .231 against the A's. Broke his bat there.
And he's a guy that doesn't strike out that often. I mean, he strikes out 1 every 9 at bats against the rest of the league, but he has had a lot of problems against Mark Mulder. And that's shocking to me because he makes such good adjustments to every other pitcher. But what that tells me is he doesn't see the ball well out of Mulder's hand. And he'll swing at a few bad pitches as he does there. When you do not see the ball out of the pitcher's hand as quickly as you'd like, you pick it up late, you swing a lot of bad pitches, and that's the reason that a good hitter like Palmeiro can have problems with a guy like Mulder, because he doesn't see the ball as well.
And 4 for 16. Talking about a guy, again, he continues to have his problems with Mulder. Another strikeout. Talking about a guy who has almost 2,500 career hits.
But again, here's a pitch. I've seen him lay off this pitch against other left-handers. But this pitch here, watch, it's out of the strike zone when he gets to the plate. Way out in front. But that tells me again that he's not seeing the ball well from Mulder. And it could be just his release point. It could be a lot of different things. He could be hiding the ball better against Palmeiro than he does someone else. But obviously Palmeiro doesn't see the ball as well against him as he does against other hit pitchers.
So Ivan Rodriguez to stand in. Nobody on and 2 down. Well, first time through the order. Mulder is just devastating. Last year, allowing the American League just a .204 batting average. He has seen 5 Rangers. Seeing Irod for the first time. He's retired the first 5 very easily. Ivan, 308 last year, 25 homers, 65 runs batted in. But again, struggled with injury and could not play the entire season. And trying to come back and also learn a brand new staff for the most part at the same time. An easy ground out to the Gold Glover Chavez. And it's a 1-2-3 inning. Chan Ho Park back to the hill for the Texas Rangers. We're scoreless in the middle of the second. A 0-0 game on a windy and cool night here in Oakland, California, as we go to the bottom half of the second inning. Got a treat for you Wednesday. ESPN is baseball's only national weekday afternoon telecast. It'll be the Pirates against the New York Mets at 1 Eastern, 10 a.m. Pacific time. The Mets winners today, 6-2. A strong outing from Al Leiter. Mike Piazza will bring that bat into the game against the Bucks. And for more information, log on to ESPN.com. Hall of Famer Joe Morgan alongside Dave O'Brien going to be to join us for some baseball on the West Coast. Chavez stinging this one deep to right center. That's way, way back, and she is gone. 1-0 Oakland. First pitch swinging here in the second inning. And a big star in the making. Eric Chavez, the Gold Glover, 32 home runs last season, blasts away.
Well, another high fastball. We talked about Chan-Ho Park being up early in the ball game. High fastball to a high fastball hitter gets you in trouble. Although Chavez normally likes the ball down, but that was a high fastball up and out over the plate.
And here's the other half of that sensational left side of the Oakland infield, Miguel Tejada. 31 homers and 113 runs batted in out of a shortstop in 2001. He and Chavez together, the first left side of an infield combination ever to hit 30 home runs each in the same season.
And they're going to do it a lot of times.
Yes. Better get used to hearing him.
And Tejada, I don't think he gets the credit that he deserves. I mean, when you talk about the great shortstops in the league, of course, you start with Alex Rodriguez, Derek Jeter, Nomar Garcia-Parra, but this guy's right there with the best. I mean, he drives in more runs than anyone except A-Rod.
His second straight 30-homer, 100 RBI season. Talking about Tejada. Fouled away for strike. 1 ball, 2 strikes, 1-0 Oakland. Chavez tags Chan-Ho Park. Now the Rangers hate to see this guy coming up to bat. Not to mention the third baseman of the Oakland A's. But Tejada carved up their pitching staff last summer. 7 homers, 22 RBIs, and he hit .365 against them. He just owned them. Because Chan-Ho was not a member of the Texas staff. He was pitching in Los Angeles. Next, Terrence Long. These are 2 clubs that will hit a ton of home runs. Tejada chased and foul, tipped it. Rodriguez hung on for the strikeout, 1 gone.
Watch this pitch will be up and out over the plate, and he actually gets Chavez moving away from the plate a little bit. Watch him bail a little bit. But the ball is out away from him. He's able to extend out and get it, and he is so strong that he was able to just drive it into right center field. And this is not a home run hitter's ballpark. You have to hit the ball really well to get it out of here at night, especially.
That is all his power right there. Here's Terrence Long, the center fielder. The one name you haven't heard us mention tonight is Jermaine Dye, who drove in over 100 runs, the everyday right fielder for the A's. And you remember in the division series against the Yankees last fall, fouling an El Duque pitch off his leg. He fractured his tibia. In effect, broke his shin, which was difficult to watch. I can't imagine what it felt like. But he is still recovering from that, and even with spring training, Joe, he couldn't make it back. And he's on the DL to start the year.
Well, I saw him taking batting practice. He was swinging the bat pretty well in batting practice, so I guess it's just a matter of time before his leg heals well enough that he can run. But the Oakland A's said that it's really kind of like the doctors told him it would be. It's going to take a while before he can run.
Big bat missing in their lineup. But here's him earlier today taking some ground balls over at first base. Getting ready, but starting the season on the disabled list. And yeah, it's the muscles around the fracture. The fracture's healed. It's the muscles around it that need to come around. So he is proceeding on schedule. 2 balls, 2 strikes on Long. Jermaine Dye, part terrific Oakland lineup, really, even with the loss. Jason Giambi and Johnny Damon, which accounted for 25% of the Oakland A's runs. And yet, because of the power out of Chavez and Tejada, and now David Justice and Jeremy Giambi at the top of that lineup, they believe they're still going to be very competitive. Nobody on base. 1 down and a 3-2 pitch from Park, who goes deep into the count often. Stung, but Young backs up for it. 2 away.
Well, you do not have to score as many runs, obviously, with this Oakland pitching staff as you would some other ball club. But that puts a lot of pressure on the pitchers, as they had last year. At the beginning of the season last year, Oakland A's, I mean, they could not get any hits with runners in scoring position. They got off to such a slow start that, you know, everyone was concerned, but they always knew that they had the starting pitchers and that all those guys were capable of winning 3 and 4 games in a row and get them right back into it. And that's exactly what happened last year.
Well, look at that in the first half. 1 game over 500. That's all. Remember, they started the year 2 and 10. They were 8 and 18 on the 1st of May. And really turned out to be one of the great dramatic turnaround stories in a long time in baseball. A little mound visit, by the way, by the trainer and Jerry Narron. Chenho Park tweaked a hamstring with about a week to go in spring training. And it's possible that was what that visit was.
Well, you can see right there that he has his right thigh taped a little bit, or at least has, you know, some elastic tape on it, we should say.
And again, a cool night, it can be difficult to get loose, especially if you have to sit on that bench in between innings. It's tightening up again on him, but he's back out there and throwing.
And he's also a guy that's had back problems, you know, when he's with the Dodgers. So a lot of, you know, when you have a leg injury, it puts a little more pressure on your back.
And is the catcher. 15 home runs last season with 60 runs batted in. A's, by the way, were a tremendous club at home last season. 53 and 28 in this ballpark. Here at the net, only Seattle and St. Louis were better. And part of what Joe was talking about, it's a good place to pitch. And especially when you have Hudson, Zito, Mulder, and Lytle going for you 4 out of 5 days across the strength.
You take a look at Chenho Park. You have to push off of the right leg, and that's where the wrap is.
Raked into right, slicing away from Gonzalez. A fair ball. It'll bounce down into the corner and roll for extra bases. And Hernandez trots to second with a double. So a couple of baseballs very well stung here by the A's in the second inning. A 2-out double by Ramon Hernandez. That'll bring up a Rookie of the Year candidate in Carlos Pena.
Well, you know, it's interesting because there was a lot written about Pena coming over and being the guy that was going to play first base in place of Giambi. And they tried to keep him putting pressure on him. So they didn't say much about his hitting in spring training. Then when about 2 weeks ago, they looked up and he wasn't hitting well. And they started to talk about it, and he said, I didn't realize I was hitting that poorly, which means to me that he felt like he was swinging the bat well. He was hitting the ball, but he just was not getting a lot of base hits. But then they looked at it, and he was striking out a lot as well. So kind of interesting the way they handled him in spring training, just trying to keep him relaxed, yet they looked up and he wasn't hitting very well when the season started.
Well, you see the numbers at AAA Oklahoma, but in spring training, just 153 with a home run.
But they tell me that this guy's he has unlimited potential as far as hitting is concerned. He can be a 300 hitter, plus he can hit 40 home runs a year. So he's the guy that they wanted if they were going to start over with a position player at first base.
Well, they got him from the Texas organization. Now he's trying to beat them tonight. In fact, when he was called up last September, well, with the Rangers, the guy who put him up, the guy who boarded him for the last month of the season was A-Rod. A generous move by the superstar shortstop. So now he's trying to basically beat the hand that fed him, at least for a month. With 23 home runs, he's a typical Oakland A.
Right.
He's young, he's inexpensive, he'll take a walk.
But they say he's patient. He doesn't mind hitting deep into the counts, which, as you said, is a typical Oakland A's hitter.
Well, he might be the man in the end to replace Jason Giambi, and for the moment he's got his position and trying to keep it. Trying to drive in a run here. Fouls that one high and off to the left on a play. 1-0 on the Chavez home run on the very first pitch he looked at in his 2002 season. Off for Chenho. 80 walks Pena drew last year in the minor leagues. Chavez showing off his power. A year ago, he showed off his Gold Glove. Received that award tonight in front of a cheering crowd. Hernandez at second. His 2-out double. got in on the hands, and it's fouled back.
One of the things that happens when you win a Gold Glove, it kind of tells people that you're not a one-dimensional ball player. It tells the people that you can help them when you're not swinging the bat well. You can help them in the field. And you know, normally we know that Chavez is going to be a good hitter. They say one of these days he's going to be a great hitter. So the fact that he won a Gold Glove, like guys like Ivan Rodriguez, I mean that's a special thing when you can win a Gold Glove for your defensive prowess, and we all know how great you are as an offensive player.
Rafael Palmeiro has also won a Gold Glove in his career. Ivan Rodriguez, 10 in a row.
And I think A-Rod would have won a Gold Glove or two if it wasn't for Omar Vizquel.
There's that little Omar Vizquel problem there
exactly.
for like the last 10 years.
I mean, it's difficult in guys who have been in the American League trying to win a Gold Glove at second base when Robbie Alomar was always there. So a lot of times it doesn't, if you do not win a Gold Glove, it doesn't mean you're not a Gold Glove caliber player. It just means someone is better in front of you.
It's like trying to win a Gold Glove during the 70s over the National League at second base. I mean,
I was lucky.
Yeah, it was all luck.
But the reason I can say it is because, really, when I first came to the Major Leagues, they considered me as a one-dimensional player. I was an offensive player, and I worked very hard on my defense. And the first time I won a Gold Glove, it was like I'd hit 400 rather than 300. It was really special, and I think that's what I'm saying about Chavez. It tells you he's going to be a great player in both ways.
Drilled it in there for a called strike 3, so Pena will not get the RBI. The one in the inning belongs to Eric Chavez. A long home run to right center field, and it's 1-0 Oakland.
Second position, number 11, Frank.
ESPN2's opening night baseball is presented by the Home Depot, driving down the cost of home improvement. And in part by Kia Motors, makers of a full line of quality cars backed by a 10-year warranty program.
The left-hander, Mark Mulder, working with a 1-0 lead as we welcome you back to Oakland. First pitch swinging, Gabe Kapler. And he'll be followed by Hank Blaylock. We're about to see the Rookie of the Year candidate and third baseman. But Frank Menachino is in at second base, replacing Randy Velarde. He got drilled pretty good on that hand right away in the start of the game.
Well, I mean, you can hear the sound of the ball pinning his hand against the bat. He tried to flex it and stay in the ball game, but eventually he had to come out of the ball game, and Frank Menachino out there now.
It just didn't sound good.
No, it wasn't. I mean, that's when you're pin it against the bat, that's how you get broken hands and so forth. But a lot of times if you see it coming, you kind of relax your hand, and that'll take some of the sting out of it.
Kapler stings that one over the leaping Chavez and down into the corner up against the fence. And Kapler will have himself a two-base hit. And so the Texas Rangers have their first base runner on the new season on a double by Kapler.
That was a good job of hitting there by Kapler with a fastball in. He didn't get it in as much as he would like, but he had to take his hand off the bat just to get through it. See how he took his hand off to shorten his swing and to shorten his stroke just to get to the ball. But he hit a rocket down the left field line.
So the first man aboard is Kapler for Texas off Mulder, who will work from the stretch. And he will face Hank Blaylock. And Blaylock will face Mulder for the first time in his career. Left-hand hitter, 6'1", 192 pounds. He's 21 years old. And just 3 years out of San Diego's Rancho Bernardo High School. Blaylock's fast track to the big leagues puts him at the hot corner for Texas.
And most people think that he's going to be a big star, and not along with all the other stars they have in Texas.
The Rangers minor league player of the year a season ago. Wasted no time in winning the starting job, and he swings and lines this one to center field. Here comes Kapler, long firing in, cut off, and we're tied up. Hank Blaylock, welcome to the big leagues. An RBI single in his first at bat. And that baseball is coming back to the dugout. That'll be a keepsake.
And that's something, again, that you will always remember, because, I mean, that's pretty special to get a base hit in your first at bat, but also to drive in a run.
They got the baseball in quickly. Hank Blaylock will have that for the end of time.
Fastball down and in where most left-handed hitters like the ball. Mulder probably will try to avoid that area the next time up.
I would think so. being the highly intelligent pitcher he is. Young takes a strike. And so we're even up here in the third inning, 1-1. Michael Young, a .249 hitter last season with 11 home runs, and is the second baseman for Jerry Naren's Rangers. And despite a payroll up around $100 million last year, the Rangers finishing last. They do not intend to be in the basement again. But with Irod and A-Rod and Juan Gone and Raffy, Carl Everett, and Hank Blaylock at third base. Mulder with a pretty good move over there to first base. Not bad. He throws over a lot and picked off 6 base runners this season ago. Young, the number 9 hitter. Well, how about that game today between the Red Sox and the Blue Jays, which finished up 12-11 Toronto. Off-speed swung on and missed.
Well, I think the surprising thing is not the score, but the fact that a lot of the runs came off of Pedro Martinez.
Yeah, 8 of them.
That's amazing.
And Pedro lit up today at Fenway Park, yet he did not take the loss.
So the next time he loses 1-0.
Yeah, that's right.
Say it all evens out.
You got it. Mulder's pitch right through there for called strike 3. He gets Young. Third strikeout of the ball game for Mulder.
Anytime you have a left-handed pitcher that can fire the fastball in on right-handed hitters, you're going to be successful. And the reason for that is because your ball naturally tails away from the right-handed hitter, so they're looking for the ball out over the plate and looking for the ball that's going to move away. And if you can come inside, you can light them up and get away with a mediocre fastball. That was a good one, but you can get away with a mediocre fastball if you get them looking away.
So Frank Catalanato, who grounded out to second his first time up, will bat for the second time tonight with a runner on and 1 out. And you know, the other thing about Pedro's performance today, giving up 8 runs, that's not the worst performance he's ever had, believe it or not. He gave up 9 runs to the Florida Marlins in 1999, and he didn't lose that game either. It was just incredible. He had won up with no decision. Did not lose today, but Toronto won a wild one, 12-11. Blaylock, in his debut already, has been successful with an RBI single, leading on first base. Inside at the knees.
Now, I said this earlier in the game, and I see it even more so now. Mulder does not have his best stuff tonight. He doesn't have that fastball with that extra hop on it that he had right at the end of last season, or most of last season.
Well, he led the American League in inducing double play grounders a year ago. That one is going to be a fair ball throw down to second base in time. Terrific play there by Hernandez, and back to first for the twin killing. Catalanato never got out of the batter's box. A soft roller just inches in front of the dish. Hernandez pounced on it and fired a laser beam down to second base. Catalanato had no idea where it was.
The first oil filter ever made back in 1923 wasn't called an oil filter. It was called a Purolator. Today, every car on the road relies on technology pioneered by Purolator. And the same company that invented the oil filter just keeps reinventing it. So that for anyone who cares enough to change their own oil, Purolator continues to mean pure oil then, pure oil now, pure oil later. Now in new pure oil packaging.
After extensive research, we've concluded that Orbitz is the travel site with the most low fares. Aloha. Visit planet Earth via Orbitz.com from the world's leading airlines.
Go where you want, when you want, how you want, for less. With Orbitz, the choice is yours, because only Orbitz offers the most low fares available in one place. Visit Orbitz.com today for the most low fares to planet Earth.
Any grill can cook a steak, but can it handle a pancake? The Big Easy can. From
Hey, dialing my number?
Of course, I always use 1-800-COLLECT.
Then you already know it saves a buck or two.
1-800-COLLECT? It's so easy.
You sure know how to push the right buttons.
1-800-COLLECT. Save a buck or two.
When you think of Italy, you think of things like the latest fashions. Want to go to Subway? But best of all, great tasting bread.
Our new roasted garlic on Italian starts with classic Italian bread, and then we top it with roasted garlic and spices and bake it all together.
My house, my other house, my kids, number 51, number 20, where I sleep, where I eat, where I do business, where I want my ashes scattered, my soulmate, my guidance counselor, my sheep, where the wild things are, what I wear, the complete wardrobe, what I count to fall asleep at night, where I run to drown my sorrows, where I run to celebrate, my surgeon, my religion, my life, baseball, Triple Play 2002, how committed are you? EA Sports, it's in the game, rated E for everyone.
Tied up at 1-1 as we move to the bottom half of inning number 3. It's the top of the order for the Oakland A's. And Jeremy Giambi, who is 1 for 1 with a base hit. And to be followed by Menachino, who is in for the injured Randy Velarde. And then Scott Hatteberg. A terrific play, by the way, by Ramon Hernandez, the A's catcher, to jump out in front of the plate on that trickler just a few inches in front of the dish and turn that into a double play. Big hack and a miss by Giambi.
Well, you have to give Blaylock credit that firstly he ran and made it close at second base. So good, you're right, a good job by Hernandez. Was also a good job by Blaylock.
So we looked at the replay during the commercial break many times to see if there was a chance that it might have struck the batter's bat or even his foot. The only thing it hit was the ground.
The one thing I'm noticing here about Chan-Ho Park also is he's starting to get the ball down. And when he does that, he's very successful because then he can get ahead of you down, and then he can release the fastball up and out of the strike zone.
He hits that one through the hole, and he's 2 for 2.
Breaking ball that did not dive as well as he wanted.
Well, that's a swing that Oakland A's fans have seen many, many times. It's very familiar. It's a lot like his brother's.
It's a lot like his brother, not quite as potent, no, but still pretty good in its own right.
Yeah. In fact, his dad is the architect of both of their swings, both Jason and Jeremy, a banker by trade, but not a bad hitting coach. David Justice working on his swing inside the dugout, hoping for a chance to bat in this inning. And a good start for Oakland with a man on, Park from the stretch. And Menachino up there swinging away in his first at bat tonight. Randy Velarde drilled by a pitch. Got hit on the hand, and so Menachino is the man in there for him tonight. 242 last year, 12 homers and 60 runs batted in for the little infielder.
He really played well for a long stretch there at the beginning, and when they started to, make their run. But then he seemed to, I think he just wore down a little bit. Here's a guy that was used to being a utility player, and all of a sudden he's an everyday player. And it takes us a while to adjust to being an everyday player. It's tough to be an everyday player because you have to go through so many ups and downs.
Hits that one into the gap, and there's nobody out there. Everett will give chase, but here comes Giambi. Heading for third, they're going to wave him in. Ron Washington has him coming home. And the throw struck the mound. They wouldn't have got him anyway, and the run is in. The A's lead it 2-1 on a Menachino double.
But I'm sure as Giambi was rounding the bases, he was thinking about what happened to him in last year's playoff, where he was trying to score from first on a double down the right field line, and he was thrown out at the plate when he didn't slide against the Yankees. He did slide this time.
History will note that he did slide.
And I mean, you can't help but think about it. And here's the relay. Now watch, A-Rod has a shot at him, and here comes the throw, and he does slide across the plate safely. But you're right, it did hit the mound, which slowed it up.
So Menachino, the 5'8", 175-pounder out of Staten Island, New York, gets himself an RBI. Giambi being dried off a bit, and a high fly into left will back up Kepler. Scott Hatteberg flying out. One away.
Yeah, again, you can never stop playing the game. I mean, that's a situation there where Hatteberg had to pull the ball. You have to pull the ball in that situation. Move Menachino over to third with less than 2 outs. I mean, this is what you call a wasted out. You wait until you get a pitch that you can pull. You can't hit a fly ball in left field on the first pitch in that situation.
Well, David Justice was brought to Oakland from New York for situations just like this. Pick up the RBI at second base and fill the Jason Giambi void. That's low for ball one. Justice was actually traded to Oakland from the Mets, not the Yankees. You may recall the Yankees dealt him to their New York City rivals for Robin Ventura in December. Comes to the A's for Mark Guthrie and Tyler Yates. So Dave was a Met for 7 days. Menachino leading. That one hit deep to right field. He jumped all over it. Gonzalez turning, looking, and it's gone. A 2-run drive for David Justice, who's quickly making a lot of new friends here in Oakland. Won the A's.
Well, if you have to bet on one thing to happen this year, you have to bet that David Justice is going to have a pretty good year. I mean, he has been a pretty good player his entire career, and he had an off season last year, and he wants to bounce back. And that's exactly what he was talking about. He said he hadn't been pulling that ball when he's been getting it in the middle of the plate. He said he's been going back through the middle and the other way. He said he needs to pull that ball to right center field, and he does it right away here in this ball game.
And it's the second home run for our Cows ball club tonight. Certainly not the first start that Texas had in mind for their new ace, Chan Ho, who has allowed 6 hits, 2 doubles, and 2 round trippers. The first of the home runs by Chavez. Miguel Tejada. We talked a lot tonight, and they will throughout the season, about the tremendous batting order of the Texas Rangers, but the Oakland A's can swing some lumber too, especially if Dave Justice plays this way all season long. Fought off foul by Chavez. So you wonder how good Eric Chavez can be. Off to a very impressive start to his career, only 24 years old, and he has already hit 72 home runs with 257 RBIs. That's more than the player who dominates Bay Area baseball, Barry Bonds, had at the same age. Tried to check but couldn't, and he's down on strikes. Second strikeout tonight for Park, and there are 2 gone. Should say his 3rd strikeout tonight. And so Tejada will bat with the bases cleared. Tejada 0 for 1, a strikeout victim in the 2nd inning. With 3 runs in here in the 3rd inning. Off of Park. Rolls that one softly. Young with a stop and throw, and the side is retired. Giambi led the inning off with a single and a Menachino double, and then David Justice stepped up and hit this one out of the ballpark. The 2nd home run of the game for Oakland. They lead it 4-1 on opening night.
Say goodbye to rigid equipment contracts and tap into the Kinko's network.
Gonna knock over a bank with a magic marker?
They're America's favorite bank robbers. Bruce Willis, Billy Bob Thornton, and Kate Blanchett. Bandits. Directed by Barry Levinson. Rated PG-13. Rent or buy it Tuesday.
What keeps you going? Achieve. New Balance.
This is what it feels like when you eat the wrong thing before a game. Prepare yourself with the pre-game food you need. Gatorade Energy Bar, packed with the carbs and protein your body needs to tear it up. Get ahead of the game.
Castrol AccuVision Rain Repellent applies quicker and easier than Rain-X, so you can use it whenever you have a spare minute. Castrol AccuVision, the 1-minute rain repellent.
I remember when I was a rookie. I was a #1 draft pick, just like you.
John Elway, I thought I had it all together, but college was nothing like the pros. You need to be bigger, stronger, faster. You need to work harder, work smarter. You need an edge.
Myoplex from EAS. Complete nutrition to help build lean muscle and energize performance.
But you probably know all that.
You bet I do.
EAS. Change your mind, change your body.
Back in Oakland. And starting off the 4th inning with Carl Everett inside the batter's box. And Mark Mulder, so far working on a 2-hitter. Allowed a double and a single the last inning, but just 34 pitches out of him so far, so he's been fairly economical. Everett 0 for 1. He's flied out to right here in his Texas debut, and he pops this one up as Pena ranges in foul territory. It is windy tonight, but he handled that one with ease. 1 gone. Let's go to the studio now, and Bill Pito.
Dave, thank you very much. Emotional day in Baltimore. The former Ranger manager, the former Oriole manager, Johnny Oates, threw out the first ball, battling brain cancer. Got a rousing ovation after he threw out the first pitch. Orioles went on to beat Roger Clemens. X-rays on his hand, negative. Clemens a loss, 10-3. The Orioles win it.
Well, how about the look on the face of Johnny Oates, the former Texas Rangers manager, obviously overcome by emotions there.
I have to tell you, I was sitting at home today, and I was turning the channel, and I looked up on that ceremony before it happened, and there was so much emotion before he threw the ball out.
A-Rod with a swing and a miss.
I mean, I'm being honest with you, I've seen a lot of great things happen to players and people in my career. I think what happened today was the greatest thing I've ever seen because it was so appreciated by him and his family.
Hit sharply, the Gold Glover with a scoop and a toss across the diamond for the out. A-Rod 0 for 2 tonight.
And every player on both teams made sure they went over and talked to him and shook his hand. I mean, it was a real tearjerker actually today if you were watching, because it was just an unbelievable scene there. Because, you know, I've known Johnny Oates a long time, and people do not get any better. They don't come any better than Johnny Oates, and everyone appreciates that and that knows him and just loves him. And all that love was there today at Oriole at Camden Yards. I was just very pleased and proud to be a baseball player and to be a part of the baseball family with what happened there today.
It's been a tough couple of years for Johnny Oates, as everyone in the game knows, and classy individual. We wish him nothing but the best from the bottom of our hearts. Juan Gonzalez hitting with 2 down. 0 for 1 tonight, a strikeout victim his first time. Had a hot start last April with Cleveland. Very good month for him. Trying to do the same thing here in 2002. He hit .387 with 8 homers. That was his best month, about 26 runs batted in. Played 9 seasons in Texas prior to moving before the 2000 season. And now back after stops in Detroit and Cleveland. Much more satisfying stop in Cleveland. That one ran in on him. Mulder doing a lot of good pitching here. Gets them 1-2-3. His 3rd quick inning, just like that. 4-1. Oakland in the middle of the 4th.
Silver medalist Danny Cass at the ESPN Action Sports and Music Awards.
Introducing the incredible new self-starter from Yardman. After the first pull start, it starts with just the push of a button. Start after start. No batteries, no electricity. The self-starter from Yardman. Works smarter, not harder.
What?
Want to make your car look like new again? Well, now you can with Color Cure Color Enriching Car Polish from Turtle Wax. Color Cure's breakthrough formula masks superficial scratches and swirl marks while cleaning, shining, and protecting all in one simple application. For deeper scratches, use the patented chipstick. Color Cure even heals old neglected finishes, removing years of oxidation. Color Cure is available in 7 popular colors. Each works for a wide range of shades. Color Cure, a showroom-like finish that's as easy as waxing your car.
Hey, there's big news at 7-Eleven. It's the new Big Bite Combo. Delicious Big Bite hot dog made by Oscar Mayer. With sweet chili and cheese. Whatever you want. An ice cold Coke. And a big grab of chips. All for just $1.99. Oh, thank heaven.
Any grill can cook a steak, but can it handle a pancake? The Big Easy can. From Charbroil, keepers of the flame.
This is Bob. Bob is doing well. Very well indeed. That's because not long ago, Bob realized that he needed something better in his life. And what did he get? Why, a big boost of confidence, a little more self-esteem, and a very happy missus at home. If you're interested in learning more about Enzyte, call for more information at 1-877-4-ENZYME or visit us online.
Torpedo in the studio, the defending champion Diamondbacks opening up against San Diego, and they do it in style. Mark Grace, a home run. And 2-0 Arizona in the 7th. More than enough for Randy Johnson, a complete game shutout. Johnson strikes out 8. 8-0 in his career against the Pods. He's now 5-0 in his career on opening day. 2-0 Tibet.
Thank you, Bill. And 128 pitches for the big unit on opening day. That's nothing for him.
128 pitches. You know, he has thrown more pitches every year than any pitcher in the game. I mean, one of these days it's going to take its toll. But I have to tell you, he's a horse.
Yeah, they keep waiting for it to take its toll. Every left-hand hitter in the National League is waiting for it to take its toll.
Last year, Bob Brindley said he was going to save him some pitches over the course of the season. Didn't happen.
No. Terrence Long leading things off here. We're in the bottom half of the 4th inning. Joe Morgan, Dave O'Brien, happy you're joining us for the nightcap on opening day on ESPN and ESPN2. A cut and a miss by Long. Ramon Hernandez next, and then Carlos Pena, the bottom 3 for Oakland. See if John Hoke can pull things together here. He had a rough 3rd, giving up a single, a double, and a 2-run homer. And I mean a rocket by David Justice, his first Oakland round tripper. Cut on a miss. Great pitch there by John Hope Park, and he fans Terrence Long. Out number 1 here in the 4th.
Well, Park did start to get the ball down. He just made a mistake to Justice.
So Hernandez up next. And Chan Ho has always had the stuff of an ace in his 6 full seasons with Los Angeles. Last season leading the National League in starts with 35. Pitched over 230 innings. He was 3rd in strikeouts. Classic power pitcher. Led the Dodger staff in wins, in innings pitched, and in strikeouts. In fact, in the National League over the last 2 years, he has trailed only 2 pitchers in strikeouts. We just mentioned one, Randy Johnson. Kurt Schilling the other. Deep fly to right field. This is hit well. Gonzalez backing up on the track. He makes the catch.
Nice play.
Nice running grab. A long run by one gone to keep that in the park. Up against that fence in right field. And so there are 2 gone.
Well, when a right-hander hits the ball this way, it's curving away from you. See, he looked over the wrong shoulder. Now he finds it and makes a nice running catch. That ball sliding away from him, as you can see, going toward the corner, and he comes down with it.
So Gonzalez noted for his long home runs and his terrific offensive output, pitching in defensively. And here's Carlos Pena. Called out on strikes in the 2nd inning. The A's have not gone 1-2-3 tonight. So Park is trying to turn the trick for the first time. And that's on the corner. 1 ball and 1 strike. Well, the A's didn't get over the 500 mark until the middle of July last year, but still went on to win 102 games. Fouled off his own foot before being eliminated in the division series by the Yankees in 5 games. What was particularly painful about that was they got out in front in that series 2-0 before caving in.
And at the time, they were going to have Barry Zito pitching for them. And Barry Zito is as good as anybody in the league when he's on his game, and he lost that ball game 1-0.
Dropping in. John Hall letting it fly. But the A's get hit a lot already. They've lost a man tonight. And Randy Velarde drilled by a pitch in first inning on the hand. They were hit 88 times. A season ago, which was tops in the American League.
Well, that's part of that get-on-base theory.
Yes, any way you can.
Take one for the team.
Because we've got plenty of ice. Peña's going to need some. He's hammering away at his feet in this particular at-bat. Going back to the division series, and you remember that play at home plate that Joe was talking about. The non-slide by Giambi. It's still one of the sickest plays you're ever going to see from Derek Jeter.
Yeah. You know, it's funny because no one is, you know, we've talked about it, and I've heard Jeter's explanation for him being there. But that's a very unusual play for a shortstop to be there as the second cutoff man. It's usually the second baseman, and the first baseman is the backup on the cutoff. Because someone has to cover second base. You know, if the guy did hit the ball, someone has to cover where the ball was hit. See how far over it is? That ball went over both the cutoff men's head, and he was there.
It's a foul ground, Joe.
Yeah. It's an unbelievable play. I've never seen anything like it.
Now, I know some of the Yankees said later, in fact, Giambi, I should say Jeter might have said it before the play with Giambi, and he said we actually practiced that.
I've never, you know, I mean, and obviously things change, but that's having 3 cutoff men with someone, and there's another guy out there running. The guy that hit the ball, someone has to keep him under control as well.
The trailer.
Yeah, exactly. But they had 3 cutoff men on that play.
Cut on and missed. A mighty swing by Peña. And the best inning of the night so far for Chan Ho Park. He gets the 1-2-3 with 2 strikeouts, but the A's still on top by 3.
It begins here for the MLB Authentic Collection. We are jackets, jerseys, and like me, caps. And we lead lives. For some, it's the big leagues and the prestige of television exposure. For others, the splendors of college. But we are all crafted to the same high standard, yes, sir. And the comfort of co-eds and cold beverages will suit me just fine. To each its own greatness. MLB Authentic Collection.
Welcome to Cat Chat. Today, we're having a tea party. My date is Sebastian. Isn't he handsome? This is Princess Mocha. She's a Pisces. She's engaged to Grumpus Von Puffy Bottom.
Okay, guys, this is how it's going down. I've got this new cheddar chili burger. It's a jumbo patty loaded with a kick of real spicy cheddar sauce, onions, and chili. Try one, or I'm going to run Cat Chat during every baseball game.
English muffin, m'lady? Why, thank you, sir.
See you at the drive-thru.
Hey, bartender, what'd you learn in school?
I learned a red snapper, kamikaze, Long Island iced tea, black Russian fuzzy navel, and a sex on the beach. Margarita, Bloody Mary, slow gin beer. Learn to make 'em all on the rocks with a twist. There's a school to attend that I highly recommend. Call 1-800-BAR-10.
Learn bartending in just 2 weeks at the Bartending Academy. Find a new and exciting job with flexible hours, making $500 to $700 per week. Call 1-800-BAR-10.
One of the new Oakland A's stars, David Justice, playing some long ball tonight in his A's debut in the 3rd inning. Joe, he crushed it.
Well, the great thing about it is he pulled the ball in the right center field, and he said he had been struggling with not pulling the ball. He'd been hitting the ball back too straight away and not getting a lot of drive on the ball.
Well, he drove that one.
Definitely.
The second home run by the A's tonight. Chavez the other one, and it is 4-1 Oakland. As we move to the fifth inning, Joe Morgan, Dave O'Brien with you from Oakland, California. As we cap off a tremendous day of baseball on ESPN and ESPN2. Rafael Palmeiro struck out his first time up, breaks his bat here, came off right at the handle. Nothing but a piece of kindling left, and the bat sticking right into the ground like a Braveheart sword.
And Rafael showed a little frustration there. When he broke the bat, he slammed the handle down that he had in his hand. Again, I just think it's because he's not able to pick the ball up as quickly as he likes to against Mulder. And watch when he breaks his bat. Well, we won't get a chance to see it, but that is just sticking right out there in the ground.
It's that one in the middle, but that's where Tejada was shaded for the first out here in the fifth inning. When you talked about that, Joan, it's an interesting point how a great hitter, a guy who might be headed to the Hall of Fame, and Rafael Palmeiro really scuffles with a particular guy. You had one or two pitchers, not too many, that you had a difficult time with.
Yeah, but I mean, there are a lot of different theories on what you do. You move closer to the plate, move farther away, move up in the batter's box, move back. You try to change the angle that you're swinging. But a lot of hitters do not like to change their positioning in the batting box.
Did you try to do it with a couple of guys?
I tried everything. I've tried everything. But very few guys will move up and back in the batter's box. One that comes to mind, a great hitter, Rod Carew. He would move in, out, he'd move around in the batter's box. But most guys like to get one spot so that they can key in on that same zone all the time.
Aren't you afraid as a hitter, though, as this one is flying into right near the line? Justice will pull up for it. And Ivan Rodriguez is gone. Aren't you afraid as a hitter that you're going to mess yourself up for the next starter?
Well, that's why some hitters do not like to change position. But Rod Carew was so good that, you know, he could hit from any spot in the batter's box. But that's why a lot of hitters do not like to change. But I'm a firm believer, and I have to worry about today. I worry about tomorrow. Maybe I'll move again.
Who's the guy that really ate you up the worst? The guy that you could not, you would just take an 8-foot roller, just getting your bat on the ball. You didn't care.
Well, if you ask Tony Perez, he would tell you it was John Matlack, who used to pitch for the Mets. There were a few guys like that, of course, but I did have problems finding the ball once he released it. I'd pick it up halfway. And when guys throw as well as he did, there's no way you can pick the ball up halfway and still be able to hit it, you know, because, and you can tell, the reason I think Rafael's not picking the ball up that well is because you see him swinging at bad pitches, and he doesn't do that very often. And that was the thing that happened to me. I swing a lot of bad pitches out of the strike zone with John Matlack that I wouldn't swing at with other left-handed pitchers.
Well, not too often for a guy who's probably going to wind up with 3,000 hits and 500 home runs.
And Mark Mulder can tell his son, I owned it. Yeah. When he sees him going to the Hall of Fame, he can say, I own that guy.
See that guy with his bust in the Hall of Fame? He was mine. No swing, says Tim Cheetah.
And on the other side of the ledger now, I'm sure there's someone, or probably quite a few guys, that Rafael Palmeiro, when he steps in that batter's box, he says, they can't get me out. And he hits them. He makes up for the losses that he has against Mulder.
Line into right, Justice in. Taps the glove for the out. And a fine job there by Mulder, his second consecutive 1-2-3 job as he preserves a 3-run lead in the middle of the fifth.
Dose of humanity!
It's the second annual ESPN Action Sports and Music Awards, fueled by Mountain Dew, April 16th at 9 Eastern on ESPN.
渴望的传奇。 甘露。
败赢之路总比空无低路好些。
Next set up my husband.
A wife with nowhere to turn.
Wake up and smell the napalm.
An outcast lawyer with nothing to lose. Nothing can prepare them for the truth. High Crimes.
I love being a wild card.
Rated PG-13. Friday, only in theaters.
And as they left the body behind, they heard.
Need to make a collect call? Oh, it's not scary if you use 1-800-CALL-ATT. Just dial down the center. It's 1-800-CALLATT. It's free for you and cheap for them.
Save on every call. Use 1-800-CALL-ATT for collect call.
What a great story.
Thanks. Have you guys heard the one about phone hand? Ah! I'm going skinny dipping.
Look at these posers and wannabes. I mean those chicken fingers. Merely posing is spicy. You gotta try new KFC Blazing Crispy Strips.
All white breast meat chicken, freshly prepared, double marinated with a taste of chili and cayenne pepper for twice the spice. For limited time, KFC's got new spicy Blazing Strips. Get 3 strips, coleslaw, and a biscuit for only $2.99. Also available in the Colonel's Crispy Strips, the flavor that started it all.
Everybody in.
I think the party's out here. There's fast food, and then there's KFC.
He's the man in the city of brotherly love.
This kid has finally made it.
Getting busy at home and at work with the guy they call The Answer.
This is my life.
The Life, Allen Iverson, presented by Sprite, 7:30 Eastern, Thursday on ESPN.
Welcome back to ESPN2's presentation of Opening Day. Brought to you by the Home Depot. A cool and crisp and windy night in Oakland. Joe Morgan, Dave O'Brien with a 4-1. The Oakland A's, the American League wild card champions, 102 wins this season ago. Off to a good start against the right-hander, Chan-Ho Park, making his Texas debut. And Jeremy Giambi leading off the inning has had a lot to say about it with a pair of singles and a run scored tonight. He is 2 for 2. Menachino and Hannibal up next. One thing we'll be keeping an eye on tonight is the little bit of a tweak of a hamstring that Chan-Ho Park suffered with about 1 week to go in spring training. Scorched but foul by Giambi, who's hit some good cuts tonight.
Yes, he has. He's just the opposite of what we're talking about with Palmero. He's seeing the ball very well out of Chan-Ho Park's hand.
Park has that thigh wrapped up a little bit in the cool weather. So far, he's allowed 6 hits, 2 homers, a couple of doubles, and he's hit a batter. Softly trickled to Young. And Giambi makes his first out of this ball game. Menachino up next. Right now, to Bill Pito we go.
All right, Dave, thank you. Opening day for the Braves, taking on Philadelphia. Tom Glavine in there for the injured Greg Maddux. Went 6 1/3, struck out 7, and Gary Sheffield a home run in his Atlanta debut as Atlanta beats Philly. 7-2 the final.
Will Gary Sheffield make a bit of a difference? David Justice has done the same thing Sheffield did in Atlanta in this game.
Yes, he'll make a big difference. You know, a lot of people are picking Chipper Jones to be the most valuable player because he will have Sheffield hitting behind him. I'm picking Sheffield to be the most valuable player. I just, you know, both of those guys are tremendous hitters.
Gary looks ready to me.
Yeah, exactly. And he's got a point to prove, of course, because, you know, he was traded away from the Dodgers, and now he's on a very fine ball club.
A very, very happy man. Seeing Shep during spring training and up at Dodger Town. And the Braves were playing one day. Very, very happy to be a part of the Atlanta Braves organization. Part of that, of course, is you don't have to face Maddux and Smoltz and Glavine anymore. They're on your side now. In fact, Greg Maddux is supposed to make that start today, but because of a lower back problem, unable to go. And Tommy Glavine steps in, does a great job for them. So the Braves off and running. Menachino is 1 for 1. He relieved Randy Velarde, who was drilled on the hand by a Chan-Ho Park pitch in the very first inning. Velarde had to come out. Menachino has already contributed. Son of a Staten Island construction worker, and he plays like one. Last season, he was nailed by a pitch 19 times. One shy of Don Baylor's club record. He kept on digging in, and here he lines a single stiff into center field.
And this is the way he played the first half of the season last year when he was starting. I mean, I just think that he wore down as the season progressed.
Well, tomorrow night at 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific, ESPN has an encore presentation of ESPN's first original motion picture. Brian Dennehy is Bobby Knight in A Season on the Brink, followed by the series premiere of More Sports at 10 Eastern time. Indiana, having moments ago lost the national championship in the NCAA title game to Maryland, so our congratulations to the Terps. Great season for the Hoosiers without Bobby Knight at the helm. Scott Hatterberg 0 for 2. He's hit into a double play and flying to left. Justice right behind him. Hatterberg, a Red Sox catcher the last 5 years. Delighted to be on the West Coast. He is an Oregon native. Sharply hit, but Palmeiro on to A-Rod. And back to first. Clark covers in time for the double play. Hatterberg tumbling down the first base line after being doubled up. And the end of 5 here in Oakland. Still 4-1, the A's lead it.
ESPN2's Opening Night Baseball, presented by the Home Depot, is brought to you by Kinko's Network. On-site, off-site, and everything in between. Tap into the network. And by the new Strawberry Cheesecake Shake, only at Sonic, America's Drive-In.
And back in Oakland, we're being treated to the Major League debut of third baseman Hank Blaylock, who in his very first big league plate appearance ripped an RBI single in the third inning, so he is 1 for 1. History will note the Rangers haven't had a Rookie of the Year since Mike Hargrove won it in 1974. That is the longest drought of any American League team. And Hank Blaylock may be about to remedy that here in 2002.
Well, he just saw the best curveball of the evening from Mark Mulder to get to 2 strikes, and he fouled this pitch off. But Mulder threw him the curveball that he had last year at the end of the season. This is the last pitch he fouled it off, but the pitch before was a breaking ball that took him to strike 2.
And the 0-2 pitch is down and in. Did you see how overwhelmed Blaylock was with being in the big leagues? He sat at his locker in Arlington the other day for the first time in Texas. He said, I can't believe they give you such a really nice chair. Cut and a miss, and he's out on strikes. Top of the Turtle Wax pitching summary. Just got to look at the 4th strikeout of the ball game by Mark Mulder, who has allowed just a couple of hits. A double and a single in the third inning, and that's been it. Chan-Ho Park has been roughed up for 7 hits, 4 earned, including 2 homers, and he has thrown 80 pitches. Just 57 to this point for the left-hander Mulder. And he's in front on Michael Young. Young 0 for 1, caught looking in the third inning. When you look at the last 17 starts in particular for Mulder last season, Joe, when they really needed him, when they were rocking and rolling, he was 13-2 with a 2.87 earned run average. He really ratcheted up, didn't he?
Yes, he really.
Check swing, did he offer? He did. That's a strike.
I mean, he really took the bit and just ran with it down the stretch. But so did, Tim Hudson pitched great, Barry Zito as well, but Mulder definitely was the star of that staff.
Well, they need it again here in 2002. A Trickler foul. And a count 1-2. Well, it's a division, as you know very well, that has gotten a whole lot tougher over the winter. The American League West been tough enough with 116 wins out of Seattle.
Right. Well, no one expects Seattle to run off and hide as they did last year. I mean, 116 wins. No one had ever done that before. So
the Angels pitching staff vaunted indeed, swung on and missed. 2 strikeouts to begin the 6th inning for Mulder. Update time. Let's go back to Bill Pito.
All right, Dave, thank you very much. Pedro Martinez gives up 8 runs in 3 innings, and yet it was 11-all in the 9th. Darren Fletcher for Toronto, sac fly. He went 2 for 4 with 4 RBIs. Wild one. Toronto beating Boston 12-11.
I understand that is already an instant classic on ESPN and will run sometime in the next 48 hours. Amazing how that happens. They didn't wait for you and I. Wednesday at 9 Eastern. That's an instant classic. The game itself might have been 48 hours long. That's right. My goodness. And the New England Patriots, the Super Bowl champions, threw out the first pitches today. All 35 of the Patriots who showed up lined up and tossed all in unison. It was quite a sight there at the Fens. Outside on Catalanato, who is 0 for 2. Frank, a very good hitter. 301 lifetime, but not in Oakland. A mere 224 in his career here, and hitless tonight. Went after that one down in the dirt. He went. That's strike 3, and Hernandez will put the tag on him to complete the strikeout as Mulder fans the side, and he has retired 10 in a row. 4-1, the A's in command. And from Oakland, we move on to the home half of inning number 6. Presented by the Home Depot, and great of you to join us as we put the cap on opening day and night. The A's in front here 4-1. David Justice with a 2-run laser beam home run in the 3rd inning. Introducing himself to the Oakland faithful. David, after 12 years, still owns one of the prettiest swings in the game and is now 5 home runs shy of 300 in his career. During his last season with the Yankees, he was hampered by a groin injury that put him on the DL twice. He suffered a bit, just 18 homers, a career low for him over an entire season, but off and running on opening night here in Oakland. Eric Chavez next, and then Miguel Tejada. So Justice 1 for 2. And Joe, I know you spoke with David at length before the game, and seems genuinely happy to be here in Oakland and taking on a leadership role. He said, I look around this clubhouse, I see a lot of young leaders. Chavez and a Terrence Long and a Jeremy Giambi, all sorts of guys, but they're all coming to him, younger guys.
Well, David's a nice guy. He's the kind of guy that you can talk to. And most of all, he's the kind of guy that will listen. You know, he's a listener as well as a talker, and I've always had great conversations with him.
Been in the spotlight for a long, long time, going back to 1990 when he was the National League Rookie of the Year. Hammered foul, just inches off the line. That's trouble if it's a little straighter. And so the count 1 ball and 2 strikes. Well, it looks like Todd Van Poppel may be ready, and he's been throwing for some time in that bullpen down the right field line. Park here into his 6th inning in his Texas debut. Never had a losing season as a Dodger. He twice won 15, won 18 games in 2000, never 20. Hit very hard to the corner, but foul. Justice continues to have excellent swings tonight. He's been aggressive in that batter's box, and how about this in the 3rd?
Well, he doesn't have the same extension that he normally gets on that ball away, but he was aggressive, and he did pull it. And you mentioned Chan Ho Park, having won 18 ball games. It's very difficult for guys to win 20 games now because they're on a 5-man rotation, and they do not get as many starts as some of the pitchers did in the past.
Well, he was always very good pitching at Dodger Stadium. 42 and 24 lifetime. Dodger Stadium, a friendly park for a pitcher, certainly for Chan Ho, but now completely new surroundings and one of the ultimate hitters parks around it.
Yes. So we'll see how he adjusts, but he has great stuff. I mean, when he's on his game, I mean, he can keep the ball in the ballpark. He can control the hitter. Rocketed into right center by Justice. This will go for a long single, but he's 2 for 3. So the leadoff man on, and let's see if that's it for Chan Ho Park. Eric Chavez coming up. Take a look at this pitch. It looked like a slider coming in on him, and he just gets the barrel out in front and rips it into right center field.
Jerry Narron will continue to look on. Watch Park throw from the stretch here. The 7th hit tonight by Oakland. This one driven deep to right field. Gonzalez looking over his head, and it scoots off the wall. That's going to bring in Justice. He's rounding third. He'll score easily. The A's jump out in front 5-1. Chavez with his second extra base hit tonight, a double and a homer. Jerry Narron may have sat just a little too long. Justice scoring all the way from first base. And so that's going to do it for Chan-Ho Park. He's coming out. Chavez with his second ribby of the ball game. He is 2 for 3, and the A's are in charge. Park pitches into the 6th inning, gets nobody out in this frame, so he retires, allowing 9 hits and 5 runs, and gives way to Todd Van Poppel as Tejada bats with a runner at second and a man in. Todd Van Poppel had an outstanding year for the Cubs, 4-1 with a .252 earned run average for Chicago. And he comes here to Texas as part of their revamped bullpen and pitching staff as a free agent.
One of the things the Rangers did, they just brought a lot of pitchers to spring training, just hoping to find a couple of gems. And they were giving a lot of people a chance to prove that they could be, win in the major leagues.
Yeah, in fact, 34 of them. 34 pitchers they brought to camp. Park responsible for that runner at second base, Eric Chavez. And when you finish last in earned run average in the American League 2 years running, and you're John Hart, the new general manager, you're going to preview as many arms as you possibly can, especially with some of the injuries they had near the end of camp. The starting pitchers and relief pitchers like Jay Powell. Chan-Ho Park a little nicked up at the end of spring training as well with a hamstring injury. Not sure if that played any role in his outing tonight, but not the strong one he had hoped for in his debut. Well, that man in the middle, a familiar face, Orel Hershiser, assistant GM for the Texas Rangers. We're talking about Chan-Ho's performances in Dodger Stadium. This is a guy who had some golden days in the sun there as well. Fly the other way to right along that line. Gonzalez won't get it. It flies over his head and up against the fence. Chavez trucks on home. The throw to second will be cut off. Tejada drove in 113 runs a season ago. That run charged to Chan-Ho Park. It is 6-1.
Well, I think the ball is actually traveling really well to right field tonight, which is unusual for this ballpark. Because when Tejada first hit that ball, Gonzalez thought he had a chance to catch it. His fastball up and away. He goes the other way with it. But I think Gonzalez thought he had a chance to catch it, and so did Tejada. But then the ball just took off and hit the base of the wall in right field.
So 6 runs charged to Chan-Ho in 5 innings. Terrence Long 0 for 2. He's grounded out and struck out. Nobody out here in the 6th. And Martin Mulder, a 21-game winner on the hill for Oakland. This is straight uphill for Texas.
Take a look at Gonzalez here. See, he thought he had a chance to get it. See, he started across to get it, and all of a sudden he realized that ball's not coming down.
Came down and skipped up against the fence eventually. 1 ball and 2 strikes on Long. Ramon Hernandez up next. Well, a 5-year, $65 million deal bringing Park to free agency to Texas. Their starting staff last year hanging an ERA of 6 up on the board. Palmeiro diving and missing, can't get it. Here comes Tejada. Gonzalez throwing home. They let it come through, and it's offline. A run scores into second. Long. 7-1 Oakland. And the A's are starting to put this one out of reach.
Well, you have to like the way the A's are aggressive with runners in scoring position. And I don't think that's always been the case in the past. Sometimes they would, you know, end up taking walks with runners in scoring position. But you want guys to be aggressive once you get the runners out there in scoring position, and that's what they're doing tonight. That ball was about 6 inches off the ground, and Terrence Long raked it into right field, and a good job of base running by both Tejada and Terrence Long.
Ron Washington, a regular windmill over their third base tonight. The Oakland A's coach. That's 4 consecutive hits for the A's in the inning. Martinez trying to, I'd say Hernandez trying to keep things going. He has doubled and flying to right. Ron has been busy over there. Waving him in. 3 here in the 6th inning. Right down to shoot for a strike. Carlos Pena up next. So the A's have busted out. That one hit him. So Hernandez, where did it hit the bat?
Well, yeah, looks like it.
It did. Just struck the bat and did not touch Hernandez on any part of his body. What do you think? Did the handle the bat?
Yeah, it looked like he turned away from it, so it probably did hit right on the handle, on the knob.
Not unusual to see an Oakland A get plunked by a pitch. Happens all the time, as they led the AL in hit batsmen a year ago, but Hernandez still in there. Now, Joe, as a hitter, would you rather take your base there, I guess?
No, when it's score 7-1, you want to hit.
You want to swing the bat here, yeah.
Now, if you're in a 0-0 ball game, you might go ahead and do that.
Well, Hernandez didn't even try to sell it to the home plate umpire, Rick Reed, and Rick obviously heard nothing but wood anyway. Man in scoring position, so indeed Hernandez would just as soon swing away here. With nobody out, more bullpen activity for Texas. Kobe Lewis, a flamethrower. He can fire it the right-hander about 96, 97 miles an hour. It's a little wild, too. Rich Rodriguez acquired late in the spring, the veteran lefty. Cut on and missed. That time Van Poppel went up high, and Hernandez couldn't go high enough for the strikeout. First out in the inning. Still a man at second base, Terrence Long. The inning started with a David Justice base hit. Chavez in with a double, followed by the Tejada double and the Long single. Gary Naron has already made 1 trip out to the hill in this inning. And now will bring on the lefty to face Carlos Pena. 7-1 on the strength of 11 A's hits in their home opener. We'll be back in a moment.
Both ways, which brings us to the safety triangle, the interconnected parts that enable you to stop, steer, and maintain stability. Ask your mechanic for a safety triangle inspection and quality replacement parts like Monroe shocks and struts. Save up to $75 off safety triangle parts or service when you buy Monroe Reflex or SensorTrack shocks or struts.
Say goodbye to being stuck with equipment your business has outgrown and tap into the Kinko's network.
When you think of Italy, you think of things like the latest fashions. Want to go to Subway? But best of all, great tasting bread.
Our new roasted garlic on Italian starts with classic Italian bread, and then we top it with roasted garlic and spices and bake it all together.
Another Shack-accessory story.
Since its discovery, gold has been used to enhance objects ranging from jewelry to spacecraft. Even the most important object of all, TV.
At Radio Shack, designing great accessories is a passion. And since gold is a better conductive material, we've engineered a variety of gold accessories for better picture and sound.
Gold gives you a great picture with less static.
See many more Shack accessories only at Radio Shack.
Life's a ball, if only you know it.
Introducing Cool Contact Towels from Old Spice. Cool down anytime, anywhere.
There's such a lot of living, such a lot of living, such a lot of living to do.
Cool Contact. Splash one on.
Hey, let's ride the fake horse and go say hi to your mom. She's hot. We love beef.
The situational left-hander, Rich Rodriguez, brought on to face Carlos Pena here. 7-1 Oakland. The A's have scored 3 times on 4 hits here in the 6th inning. Only 2 men of their starting lineup have yet to produce a hit. So plenty of offense so far for Oakland. And the veteran on to face Carlos Pena, the rookie, who has gone 0 for 2 tonight. He has struck out each time. A runner in scoring position, who said that most of the inning here for the Oakland A's.
And Pena's probably saying, what did I do to deserve this? I've struck out twice against the right-hander. Now they bring in a left-hander just for me.
Pena's played for the World Team each of the last 2 years in the Major League Baseball All-Star Futures game. Many believe he will be a future All-Star at the big league level. He flies this one to left. In comes Kapler for the catch. Now number 2. Well, when you accumulate the vast wealth that both Chan-Ho Park and the owner of the Texas Rangers, Tom Hicks, the man in the middle there wearing the Rangers warm-up jacket, have accumulated, you can count. And both of them know that there are 161 games left after tonight. 1 game does not make a season, but certainly not the opener of Mr. Hicks. And the people who count the money for him, like Oral Hershiser, seated right behind him, what they were hoping for. At least not yet. Chan-Ho Park roughed up tonight for 6 runs in 5 innings. Jeremy Giambi is 2 for 3, couple of singles, and he's grounded out. So off to a nice start. Giambi will step out for a moment, given clearance to do so by Rick Reed. But you know, hitters are going to be required to stay inside that batter's box, and pitchers are going to be required to throw within 12 seconds. Relief pitchers have to get ready to pitch and throw their first pitch in 2.5 minutes after coming into a ball game, after they get to, say, the warning track. 2 minutes and 30 seconds. These are all new speed-up rules that baseball will try to enforce this season. And Joe, will they have success is the question.
Well, I think they'll be successful with some of the changes. I think you'll be able to keep the hitters in the batter's box. I think that'll happen. But, you know, sometimes when you're coming, I think you're going to have to do it on a case-by-case basis. Some of these stadiums, it's a long way from the bullpen to the mound.
Yeah, it's a bus and a train in Colorado.
Right. And then in other places, it's very close because, you know, they warm up on the side.
As they do here in Oakland, so not too far. Hasn't become an issue yet. Certainly not here tonight. I think one of the big questions there is the issue of strategy. For example, if there is a particularly long distance from the warning track to the pitcher's mound, and if a manager wants to communicate something very important to a relief pitcher and a catcher, and he's running out of time, doesn't have time to do it, you can see mistakes being made there that could cost teams games. They run out of time. You've got to make your warm-up tosses and everything inside the 2.5 minutes. Inside the line, and another extra base hit coming here. Or perhaps not. Giambi will take a big turn and head on back, but coming in to score, Terrence Long. It's a 3-hit game for Jason's brother. And a long night for Jerry Narron and the Texas Rangers. It's 8-1.
Well, they're going to pinch run for Jeremy. Not often you pinch run for your leadoff hitter, right?
Oh, that's a first.
Yeah. Fastball right in the middle of the plate. About knee-high, and he pulls it down the line well past the diving Rafael Palmeiro.
Mike Colangelo will be in to run for him. A dozen hits for the A's. They lead by 7.
Major League Baseball Charities doesn't see things as they are. We see things as they could be. So we turn vacant lots into baseball fields. Help get kids off the streets and onto the diamond. And teach them skills to thrive in life. The way we see it, there's potential everywhere. It's just a matter of how you look at it.
You're right, too. This is your right, too. Truly rock, evolution is evolution is harder, play harder. Evolution is, the revolution is Goody.
See what's new at Sam Goody.
East fans, the world's fastest Harleys are coming to Firebird International Raceway Saturday and Sunday, April 6th and 7th. AHTRA brings you the Rivera Primo Arizona Bike Week Nationals, presented by Hacienda Harley-Davidson. See tire-smoking, fire-breathing, 200-mile-per-hour Harleys conquer the quarter-mile strip. 3 nitro classes, pro stock, street bikes, juniors, and more. Don't miss the AHTRA official kickstart party Friday at Hacienda Harley-Davidson. Race bike displays, Miss Arizona Bike Week contest, and more. The ultimate extreme motorcycle drag racing, April 6th and 7th, Firebird International Raceway. Gates open 8 a.m. Racing starts at 10. Be there.
Hey, honey, have you seen the phone?
With Cox Digital Telephone's great savings and great service, you won't be the only one who can't wait to use it.
We're getting creamed here. Where, Mommy? Where, Mommy?
Switch to Cox and save over 20% a month. Thousands of people have made the choice. Switch to Cox Digital Telephone today. Call 623-594-1122.
ESPN2's Opening Night Baseball is presented by The Home Depot. The Home Depot, driving down the cost of home improvement. And in part by KFC. There's fast food, then there's KFC. And by State Farm Insurance. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
Opening night in Oakland, the fans are loving it so far. 8-1, their A's comfortably in front. Aquino, the batter, facing the 4th man to pitch in the inning for the Texas Rangers. Great big right-hander out of Bakersfield, California. Colby Lewis, 6'4", 230 pounds, and he throws gas. Fouled off and out of play by Aquino for his double and single tonight. And Lewis, a fastballer who's going to hit 97 on the radar gun. And wild enough to make you think. He hit 16 batters in 156 innings last season at Tulsa. So dig in at your own peril. And be lively in that box. A runner at first base in Colangelo. Swatted that foul away. Big inning for the Oakland A's. They've come up with 5 hits in the 6th to chase Chan-Ho Park. Van Poppel and Rodriguez have also worked, and now Lewis. Colby running for Giambi. Quite a start for Jason Giambi. 3 hits in his season opener. Jeremy Giambi playing in left field with 3 singles in this ball game and an RBI. And also scored a run. 2 out, a man at first. It's been a long sit for Mark Mulder, that's for sure. The Oakland A's starter, 21-game winner. He's been on that bench for a long, long time. Balls and 2 strikes on Aquino. And the 8th A to step in this frame. And misses away. The Orioles hammered away at the Yankees today, 10-3. So an opening day victory for Baltimore. The White Sox sneaking by Seattle 6-5. The runner goes, and it's high for ball 4. Well, at the very least, we haven't seen much of that tonight.
That's true.
That's the first walk of the game for either team. And none too thrilled Jerry Nara on hearing about that stat. Because the A's bring up their 9th hitter during the 6th. 8-1 Oakland. Atterbury tonight 0 for 3. He's hitting into a couple of double plays as well. So well, he and Carlos Pena, the only two who haven't gotten in on the fun as far as getting a hit for the A's. Atterbury winning the number 3 spot in the batting order with a very good spring. That one gets by everybody. Did not touch Atterbury, and the runners will move up. Iron had to go back and get it.
I think that spot actually is going to belong to Dye when he comes back, but until he gets back, they're probably going to platoon Atterbury and someone else in that spot.
Art Howe really liked the quality at bats that Atterbury had throughout the spring and his ability to work deep into the count. Very much an Oakland A's trademark. 2 men in scoring position for Hatterberg here. He can turn this one into a rout with another hit. That's a foul ball. Tim Cheetah right on top of it. Got as close a look as an umpire can get. Had a lot of spin on it. Looked as if it did from up here.
Well, you can see the ball is outside the bag as it passes it.
So just foul. Otherwise, it cleans off the bases and makes it 10-1. 1 ball, 2 strikes, 2 out. Runners at second and third. And a chopper for A-Rod. He bobbles it, but scoops and fires in time. And that ends a very lengthy inning. The Oakland A's send 9 men to bat. They lead it 8-1 at the end of 6.
You know the guy's names? I'm telling you the names. Who's on first? Yeah, go ahead and tell me. Who? The guy on first. Who? The guy playing first base. Who? The guy on first. Who's on first? What are you asking me for? I'm asking you.
Baseball Tonight, every night at 10 and midnight on ESPN.
Frank Menachino, by the way, lost 2 friends in the... Back for the top half of the 7th inning in Oakland. 8-1 the A's with a commanding lead. A 12-2 advantage in the hits column. Baseball Tonight pausing at 9:11 Pacific Coast time in honor of the fallen heroes and the victims of 9/11. The moment of silence observed by the players and the fans, all standing here inside the net in Oakland.
But you also were mentioning that Frank Menachino lost a couple of friends at the catastrophe of 9/11.
Yes. Well, he did, so particularly meaningful for him. For Frank, a couple of firefighters were very good friends of his. They worked for the Brooklyn Fire Department. And one, Nick Rosamundo, lived just 3 doors down from Frank and would often do repair work for Frank's mom while they were growing up. Carl Everett leading off the 7th inning here against Mulder. We'll see how sharp Mark Mulder is after a very lengthy sit on the bench. Mike Colangelo moving into the ballgame left for Jeremy Giambi. You see it come on to run for him. There's some changes, but Mulder continues to pitch here. He has surrendered just a couple of hits to one of the great offenses, or potentially great offenses in Major League Baseball, and Carl Everett is a new part of that, coming from the Boston Red Sox. He is 0 for 2 tonight with a fly to right. He's popped out to first. Gets onto this one and lifts it into left center. And Terrence Long shades on over for the out. Time for a look at the John Deere box score, Texas Rangers box score, and a lot of offers there from Catalinato down to Ira. And just a couple of hits by Kapler and Blaylock, and that's been all against this lanky left-hander. Fouled off by Rodriguez, who was flied out to center and grounded out to third. Alex coming off that sensational season, and a lot of his cynics would say, well, yeah, for that kind of a paycheck for $25 million a year, we kind of expect 52 home runs.
Yeah, but I tell you, all the pressure he was under, you know, going into the season, I mean, every day someone spoke about how much money he made, and it had to be difficult, especially on the road. I'm sure people reminded him all the time. I mean, he had a fantastic year under those circumstances. Well, under any circumstances, indeed. 0 for 3 so far tonight. But make no mistake, Alexander Emmanuel Rodriguez may be the next name inscribed on baseball's Triple Crown. He is capable of making that kind of a run. Well, you're right.
Right fielder,
Nobody doubts that kind of ability. Look at the career years that these sluggers have had and the kind of numbers they are capable of. From Ivan Rodriguez, Palmeiro, 47 home runs. Now they have Juan Gonzalez back. Off the glove of Mulder. He scampers behind the mound. Throw to first. Safe. Pena came up off the bag, had to leap to make that catch. And so Gonzalez is safe at first base.
Well, Mulder tried to get out of the way. We saw Roger Clemens stick his hand out today, and the ball hit his bare hand. Now watch Mulder. He does not stick his hand out to try to grab it. He just tried to block it with his body and then pick it up and throw to first base. Not in time.
That's going to be a base hit. So Gonzalez has his first single in his return to Texas. He's 1 for 3. Palmeiro tonight 0 for 2, and he continues to have a devil of a time against Mark Mulder. 10 strikeouts, including one in the second inning. Now, there are left-handers, and some very good ones, like Chuck Finley, for example, that Rafi Palmeiro just tears up.
Right. I mean, there are a lot of guys he just tears up, but not Mark Mulder.
Mulder has him with an 0 for so far this evening, but a runner at first base. Just 3 Texas hits. And earlier tonight, Rafael Palmeiro, shattering a bat, fired down the piece of it that he had in his hand, the handle, and you could tell he was frustrated.
Well, if you watch, now that was a good pitch for him to hit. That looked like a breaking ball in the middle of the plate. But in most cases, the balls have been on one corner or the other.
Swing and a miss, and another meager wave by a great hitter.
But I tell you what, that was a nasty curveball right there.
It was.
That's the second best one he's thrown of the evening. That one really drops off the table. Watch how high this ball is. It's way up there, and then all of a sudden it drops down. And as I said, he gets you with the speed and the break on that particular pitch.
Down he goes again. Rafi has been tied up in knots by Mulder. So another strikeout for Mark Mulder as he gets one of the great hitters in the game. Made it look easy. Well, we just had our 7th inning stretch. 8-1 Oakland in control here, and we also just heard the singing of God Bless America, which you'll hear during the 7th inning stretch around ballparks across America throughout the summer. Let's listen in.
From the mountains to the prairie, to the oceans white with foam, God bless America, my home, sweet home. God bless America, my home, sweet home.
Dennis Cleary. And a nice job. Joe Morgan, Dave O'Brien from Oakland. The fans have had a wonderful time here on opening night, despite a cool and windy evening here in Oakland. The A's with an 8-1 lead, and Mark Mulder has taken care of the rest, allowing just 3 hits. Time for a look at our John Deere in-game box score, and for the Oakland A's, Giambi 3 for 4. And so Jeremy putting on a show tonight at the top of the order. Menachino coming on off the bench. He did not start, going 2 for 2 with an RBI. David Justice and Eric Chavez with home runs. And Mulder has pitched extremely well. And he's going to continue to pitch this evening with a healthy lead. Why not? Up by 7. Colby Lewis back to work for Texas. Scalded by Justice. And David Justice did not have a very good spring. He hit just .204 in spring training games in Arizona, but 3 hits tonight. A home run and a pair of singles, and he's on base again. Whatever you said to him, Joe, you have to take full credit.
No, I can't take any credit for it.
You got him going tonight.
No, I talked to him before last year's World Series. It didn't work. Actually, I did not get a chance to talk to him last year, but you know, David's a very good hitter. I mean, it's just always a matter of time with him before he finds his rhythm.
And David also a highly intelligent guy. You're talking about what a charming fellow he is, and very precocious. He skipped 2 grades. He skipped the 7th and 8th grade on his way to graduating high school at the age of 16. First Rookie of the Year in the National League with Atlanta. He was really offensively the big thrust in the Braves' recovery, getting back to prominence back in the 90s. At one time, voted one of the 50 most beautiful people in the world by People magazine. Been in the spotlight a long, long time.
And I tell you, he was the most valuable player on the Yankees 2 years ago. He turned that ball club around for him. They needed some more power, and he came over from Cleveland and provided it and helped them win another championship.
Well, the A's trying to go to the playoffs for the 3rd consecutive year, and have David Justice in their outfield.
It was interesting you mentioned Jeremy Giambi with 3 base hits in this ball game, 3 for 4. Well, his brother Jason in his Yankee debut, he went 1 for 4 in today's ball game. Yankees might want to reconsider which Giambi they play.
Well, we'll find out around the All-Star break when we tally up those home runs and RBIs.
Exactly.
But the Giambi boys doing just fine on opening day. And so is Eric Chavez. Home run and a double. 2 RBIs, 2 runs scored. Popped that one up on the infield. And Blaylock called off by Rodriguez. And Alex makes the play for the out. The A's certainly with their hitting shoes on tonight, though. And knocking Chan-Ho Park out in the 6th inning. He did not retire a batter in the 6th. Giving him 9 hits and 6 runs, and he is on the hook for the loss this evening in his Texas debut. And young Colby Lewis pitching now to Miguel Tejada, 1 for 3 with a double. Tejada with 31 homers and 113 runs batted in last season. A terrific all-around year. Scored over 100 runs. And he played in all 162 games.
Which is amazing for a shortstop. I mean, to play every day. That's a very demanding position.
Tejada coming up from the Dominican Republic. And now really coming into his prime years in baseball. When he was brought up as a rookie, although he's known to be very soft-spoken, kind of quiet, he announced to the world, I'm going to be the A's shortstop for the next 10 years. So he may be quiet, but he's confident. He's also accurate. Because he's not going anywhere. Exactly where he'll be for the next 10 years or more. Floated toward right field, backing up Young. And there are 2 gone. More Wednesday baseball coming up. We got a doubleheader on Wednesday night for you. A couple of good ones. It'll be the Phillies and the Braves at 7 o'clock Eastern time. Chipper Jones and his new best friend Gary Sheffield on ESPN2. Then the Giants and the Dodgers. Joe Morgan will be there in Los Angeles. It'll be Barry Bonds' first national game of the year, coming off an eye-popping 73 home runs.
Why don't you drive down there with me?
I think I will.
Okay, let's go do it. We'll do it together.
How about you and I?
Yeah.
At Dodger Stadium in Chavez Ravine in the city of Angels. Terrence Long, the hitter. 1 out of 3 with an RBI single. So he is chipped in. Not many easy outs up and down the Oakland A's lineup.
Well, they make you work. I think that's the key. You do not get a lot of first pitch outs from this ball club.
They mean to take you deep. And this one's fly deep. But not quite deep enough. And Everett, with the grab, retires the side. So that's all, and that is the end of 7 innings. Mulder getting ready to come out, working on a 3-hitter. From the net in Oakland, we're moving on to the 8th inning. And Ivan Rodriguez will start things off against Mark Mulder, who has been outstanding to this point. The only inning he got in any kind of difficulty, if you could call it that, was the 3rd when he gave up a double to Kapler to start the frame, and then a base hit that drove in a run by the rookie Hank Blaylock. And a strikeout and a double play freed him from any further damage in the frame. Ivan Rodriguez 0 for 2. He's grounded to 3rd and flied out to right. 7 groundouts so far for Mulder, 7 flyouts, and 7 strikeouts.
One way to judge this Texas lineup is where Ivan Rodriguez is hitting. He's hit 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th for this ball club. But today he's hitting 6th.
Digs it out. 1 gone. That'll bring up Gabe Kapler. Well, tomorrow night at 10, 7 o'clock Pacific time, ESPN brings you the premiere of More Sports, presented by Bud Light. Comedian Jay Moore will offer his unique and humorous insights on the world of sports. Interviews with athletes, musical performances, entertainment personalities, a lot more. That'll be part of More Sports with Jay Moore. Speaking of musical performances, right next door, as we speak here in Oakland, Paul McCartney is performing.
Well, at one time I thought we were going to be finished before you were.
Yeah, at one point we were on that pace to beat Mr. McCartney right out of the area, but I don't think that's going to happen. This building's going to let out about the time that the former Beatles audience lets out. I've only got about an 18-minute drive to my hotel. It's going to take about 2.5 hours. I know you're headed home for this evening. Kapler has doubled and flied out, and he knocks that one into right center for a base hit. And again, just the 4th hit of the ball game off of Mark Mulder. So man on for Hank Blaylock. Tim Hudson's going to pitch tomorrow and again on Sunday. On Sunday Night Baseball. That'll be in Seattle against Jamie Moyer. Pretty good pitchers duel for your next one with John Miller.
Well, this time of the year, the first couple of rounds, you're going to have the top pitchers facing each other. And I remember last year, Tim Hudson pitching in Yankee Stadium. He was fantastic there as well. Did not win the ball game, but he pitched well. There's Jamie Moyer, 20-win season.
Well, tonight we're watching the left-hander Mulder pitch. We will not see Barry Zito, but the 3 of them together, the 3 aces of the last 3 years, who combined to go 103 and 47. That's how you win 102 games.
Yeah.
It doesn't get a whole lot more complicated than that. Hank Blaylock with a single and a strikeout tonight. I thought Rafael Palmeiro had a good line about him in the spring. He said he's a 21-year-old kid, but he's a lot more mature than that. And I don't think with all the veterans around, he's feeling too much pressure to come up here and be the next Mickey Mantle, although he probably will be. But he strikes out there for the 2nd time.
That is a pretty good explanation. There's David Justice. I mean, you know, so much has been made of the fact that Jason Giambi was the leader of this ball club because he was young and he came up with these young players. But David Justice is a different kind of a leader. He's more of a veteran leader.
Comebacker, and the left-hander will snag it. Side retired. He strikes out a man, gives up a hit in the inning, and he has sailed through 8 innings with a healthy lead. Oakland ahead 8-1 and moving closer to their first victory of the 2002 season. Well, a Boffo opening night for the Oakland A's. 8 runs on 13 hits. And in Oakland, the fans having a great time. Like one of those signs said, slide, Jeremy.
Well, he did tonight.
He did, yeah.
As he scored the first run of the ball game.
Did not slide, of course, in the division series against the Yankees. They try to live that one down. A new battery here for the Texas Rangers. As Steve Woodard, one of the 13 Texas Ranger pitchers to open up the season, a highly unusual move, will come on to pitch. I think, Joe, we're going to see at least 12 of them tonight. And Hasselman is in to do the catching. Ramon Hernandez 1 for 3. He's doubled to right this evening. Now for the Oakland A's tonight, a couple of big innings. The third inning, scoring 3 times. David Justice, the highlight there with a 2-run homer. And 4 runs in the 6th inning. Really start to put the ball game out of reach. Woodard's numbers last year with the Cleveland Indians. One of the many pitchers to sign on with Texas. What do you think about that, Joe? Opening up a season with 13 pitchers. Now, obviously, they're not going to stay the whole season. Might not even go a whole month with that many, but that is an unusual move.
Well, it's unusual to bring 34 pitchers in the camp as well.
It is.
But I understand. You know, again, they're just hoping to throw a lot of pitchers against the walls and hope some of them will stick around and do a good job for them. So I understand that move. And I would think that what he's doing here in the first month is he's figuring that maybe his starters are not able to go 9 innings, not ready to go 9 innings, and he's going to need his bullpen more. So he keeps the extra pitchers until he feels like they build up enough arm strength that they can go 9 innings, and then he'll start to delete some of the pitchers from the bullpen.
But one of the negatives, I guess, is it does not give Jerry Narron a lot of room for flexibility. For example, he can't use a pinch runner late in the ball game should he need one. He really only has 3 bench players if you set aside the backup catcher, and most managers don't want to use the backup catcher anyway.
Well, but I think he's looking at a ball club he figures going to score a lot of runs. He doesn't feel like he's going to be in a lot of 1-0 or 2-1 ball games where he's going to need the pinch run. And I think it makes sense. I mean, pitching.
Ground ball into his left Blaylock, who has fielded his position very well throughout spring training and winning that job. The rookie making that play easily, 1 gone.
Well, pitching has been their downfall, so he's going to make sure that, you know, it's that old saying, I'd rather have too many than not enough, and I think that's what he's doing here. He figures he has enough offense, he has enough, you know, out there every day that he's not going to need to pinch hit or do much maneuvering other than just pitching.
Well, if Texas pitches at all, as Pena takes one inside for ball 1, if they get decent pitching, not even necessarily great pitching, they're going to be a whole lot of fun to watch.
Yeah. Well, they're never going to be out of a ball game. I mean, even in the normal circumstance, they're not out of this ball game. But the way Mulder's pitching, that makes a difference. But
line to left, well hit by Pena, but the wind knocks it down a little, and Kapler is there for the grab. 2 away. It'll be the top of the order for Oakland. This copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of the Commissioner of Baseball and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. Any accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without express written consent. Show your support for your favorite team with the MLB Authentic Collection. Log on to MLB.com to order your player quality merchandise now. Let it be said that that is our first disclaimer on a West Coast Monday night game of 2002. That may be, I'm not sure, Joe, but is that authentic Major League Baseball merchandise right there?
I have to tell you, it looks more like a Texas Ranger kind of hat.
It does. It has a 10-gallon feel to it. Probably weighs that. Colangelo, the batter. With nobody on base and 2 gone. Here in the 8th inning, and that's across for strike. Well, the A's won 102 games last season. They got off to a terrible start, so to pull that trick was quite a feat indeed. They look like a team that means to get off out of the gate in good fashion this year. All about attitude in Oakland, and it really is I wouldn't say it's a cocky feel inside their clubhouse, but there's a quality arrogance in there. Like, you know, they know they can win. They know their pitching staff is maybe the best in all of baseball. Certainly the starting rotation is going to be able to make that claim if they continue to pitch. Now with the addition of David Justice on board and hammering the ball away like he has tonight, boy, Art Howe has to feel confident indeed.
I think that's the difference between a lot of young players today and, say, in the past. Young players today have a lot of confidence coming in, and I don't think it's cockiness. I just think it's confidence. They have a lot of confidence in their ability, and they have no fear.
Hit hard, but a friendly bounce for Blaylock. And a reach by Palmeiro. Good enough for out number 3, and it's a 1-2-3 frame. And Mulder, a terrific job tonight. 8-1 at the end of 8. Catalanato will lead things off. Mark Mulder, the left-hander, going onto the hill for the 9th inning and looking for a complete game effort. He's been helped out by the long ball tonight. Eric Chavez with his first home run. First pitch he looked at. In the 3rd inning, David Justice following suit, hammering his over the right center field fence. The Oakland A's pouncing, and Mark Mulder taking care of the rest. He has been sensational, getting Rafael Palmeiro all tied up in knots. And so now trying to put the finishing touches on it. A complete game effort as he goes to the 9th inning. He's thrown 88 pitches, 8 strikeouts, hasn't walked a soul, and just 4 hits. Not a bad way to start. You saw Colon go all the way last night, Joe.
Yeah, Colon used mainly his fastball, and he mixed in a breaking ball every once in a while. You were seeing Mulder use all of his pitches, changing speeds, and he has an unbelievable curveball.
And right now at 90 pitches, so economical. Randy Johnson with a complete game shutout today for Arizona. So he pitched 9 terrific innings. So he needed 128 pitches. That one inside the line, a fair ball by Catalanato. And he will easily get into second base. To double his first hit tonight. And Billy Koch is warming up in the Oakland bullpen, their closer. Bradford has joined him as well. Koch will be the closer on this Oakland A team. Coming over from the Toronto Blue Jays. You talk about a guy who throws hard. But looking for a bounce-back season at an ERA up around 480 last year. And Rick Peterson, the Oakland A's pitching coach, will head to the mound. He hasn't had the slightest idea of going to the hill this evening until now. The way Mulder's pitched.
Well, the one thing you do not want to do if you're Art Howe is leave him out there and let him get knocked around a little bit. His confidence level is at its highest right now because he's pretty much dominated this great Texas lineup. And you do not want to let him stay out there and let them knock him around for 2 or 3 runs.
He remains in for now to face Carl Everett. And he has shut down Everett tonight. Catalanato at second base. Everett 0 for 3 with a couple of flyouts and a pop-up. This is something that Mark Mulder hasn't done often tonight, working from the stretch.
Baseball is really all about confidence, and if he, as well as he's pitched, if he leaves on a bad note, giving up 2 or 3 runs, then it changes his attitude for his next start.
Down low for a ball, and when Peterson went back inside that dugout, the fans here applauded that. And the move to keep the left-hander on the hill. They want to see a complete game here on opening night. Alex Rodriguez up next. Swung right through it.
Good changeup from Mulder. He's got a great changeup, a great curveball, and a good fastball. So he can mix speeds very well. And that pitch is pretty much in the middle of the plate, but the speed fooled him.
Well, this is a mound and a ballpark that he really enjoys pitching in. 11-2 here last year. He allowed only 4 home runs at Network Associates Coliseum. And on nights when Paul McCartney is singing close by, he's really good. Mr. McCartney ready to finish up his performance within the next hour or so. Deep drive into left, and that one is not coming back. It is gone.
This is exactly what you do not want to happen.
A 2-run shot by Carl Everett, his first Texas Ranger home run. That scores Catalanado in front of him, and that makes it 8-3. Mulder allowed only 16 home runs all of last season, so he keeps the ball in the park, but he is coming out. Here comes Art Howe. He will make the move here. So there will be no complete game for Mark Mulder on opening night. Well, the fans wanted Mulder to get the chance. He got the chance, but could not close it out, but still a very strong performance. However, he gives up 2 runs here in the 9th. Out he comes, 8-3 Oakland. The fans will salute him. The evening is done for the 21-game winner of a season ago, the left-hander Mark Mulder. He goes 8+, but gives up a 2-run shot to Carl Everett. And so that gap is closed up a little bit. Well, coming up on Wednesday, ESPN has baseball's only national weekday afternoon telecast. Mike Piazza and the Mets tangling with the Pittsburgh Pirates. The Mets winners today. That's at 1 o'clock Eastern, 10 a.m. Pacific. And for more, it's MLB. Log on to ESPN.com. Well, here comes Chad Bradford, needing to get 3 outs to put the Oakland A's into the win column. Ahead here 8-3, but nobody out here in the 9th.
And we talked about the fact that Texas is never out of a ball game because of this lineup. And the only thing that was holding them back was Mulder, but he is no longer in the ball game. So it's not over yet.
Alex Rodriguez is 0 for 3. Then it's Juan Gonzalez and Rafael Palmeiro. But a pop-up here by Aaron around the plate. Hernandez shucks that mask. And a good start for Bradford. He retires A-Rod quickly. 1 gone. And 1 gone next. So a quiet night for Alex.
Good breaking ball diving off the outside corner. And Rodriguez goes after it. And then he gets hit as you see the catcher Hernandez throwing his helmet away. I mean, the helmet and his mask away, and it's A-Rod.
Gonzalez 1 for 3 with a single, and the sidearmer misses.
You know what's tough about a sidearm or a guy that throws almost underhand like Bradford does? It's not the fact that it scares you. The fact is you're used to looking for the ball above his shoulder, and you have to look down there and find it very quickly, because that's the real problem. You can't find the ball as quickly as you'd like. It's not so much that the sidearm, you know, makes you bail or scares you. It's the fact you don't find it, so you do bail.
Gonzalez takes the high one. And the count moves to 3-0. Well, a walk here and a big fly by Rafi Palmeiro, who has to be smiling because Mulder is finally out of the game. His personal nemesis, well, it could get real interesting.
He will definitely be excited to run into the batter's box.
Yeah, he will sprint up there, I think. Now that the southpaw is on the bench. Sidearmer in there for strike. Rafael is next. Yeah, this lineup, when it gets going, can become a regular Texas chainsaw massacre for most pitchers, but was not the case for Mulder tonight. He silenced them. until the very end. Hits softly up that third base line, rolling into the bag, and it's a fair ball. And that's going to be a hit for Juan Gonzalez. It spun and it rolled and it spun some more and finally clanked right into the third base bag.
Well, normally, you know, fields are built so that the water will run off, so there's a crown in the middle and it slopes toward the foul line. This one apparently is not sloped that way. Watch, this ball is actually foul for a split second, then it comes back. Watch. The ball is foul right there. Now look at it come back. That tells you that the slope is not away from the middle of the diamond like most ballparks. Right down the line.
Pretty helpless feeling for the Gold Glover Chavez. And to stand by and watch, playing way behind that bag with Gonzalez up here. So here's Palmeiro bidding for his first hit of the ball game. He was 0 for 3 and struck out twice. And this doesn't happen very often. He looked real bad up there. Mulder.
Billy Cox is back throwing down in the bullpen.
So the closer is up again. And might yet come into this contest for Art Howe. Next swing, that's a strike. 1-1 on Palmeiro. Cox, whose fastball has hit 102 miles an hour. But got a little bit flat last year in Toronto, and he was hittable. He's warming up. Palmeiro, 47 homers last season, 123 runs batted in, but he pops that one up. And Tejada back to the outfield branch. And the A's are 1 out away from a victory. And now Gonzalez forgot how many outs there were, and the ball game is over. He gets doubled up. He just locked up mentally and walked on down towards second base, apparently losing count of the outs, and that's how the ball game ends. So forget about any comeback tonight for the Texas Rangers as it ends on a base-running mental mistake. Palmeiro popping up in what turns out to be a game-ending double play. 8-3. Oakland wins it. Mulder with the victory. And off and running again after 21 victories last season.
Well, you see Juan running down to second base, and you see Tejada saying, hey, I'm going to throw to first base. And he throws over, and that completes the double play, and the ball game is over.
Well, yeah, here, double play. Let's just end it right now. Somebody get over there and cover. Ball game. Again, your final 8-3 as the Oakland A's behind very good starting pitching and a home run hitting of Eric Chavez and David Justice, a new acquisition who pays off immediately. Not to mention Jeremy Giambi, who had 3 hits. They roll to an easy victory in front of the home crowd, about 40,000 or so. The losing pitcher, Chan Ho Park, in his Texas Rangers debut, he is 0-1. He went just 5 innings tonight and gave up 6 earned runs and 9 hits. Then the A's continue to hit up against that bullpen. 13 hits for Oakland. David Justice had 3 hits tonight. A homer and a couple of singles, drove in 2 runs and scored twice. Big night for David.
Well, this looks like the David Justice of old. I mean, he drives the ball to right center field, rips another single into right center field. And these balls are hit hard, all of them, and then he hits a ground ball in the hole between first and second for his third base hit of the ball game. So he had a very good night, swinging the bat exceptionally well.
Well, that's exactly what the Oakland A's expect from David Justice. We welcome David, who had a tremendous ball game tonight. 3 hits, the 2-run homer, and helping out Mark Mulder, and of course the fans here in Oakland getting a chance to see one of the really great left-handed swings in all of Major League Baseball. Still is after all of these years. And I mean, if you're going to come to a brand new ball club, a young team, although a very talented one like Oakland, hey, this is the way to introduce yourself to the fans and to your new teammates, isn't it?
Well, David Justice, as you mentioned earlier in the ballgame, he has one of the sweetest swings in all of baseball, and it's still very sweet. And tonight it looked like the David Justice of old. And I think that's the one thing that David wanted to do, is get off to a good start. I think that's important. When you're coming off a poor season, you want to get off to a great start.
Well, you have to wonder how a guy can hit just about 200, barely hitting over his weight in spring training, and then just come out and swing the bat like that. But hey, when you've been in the playoffs 9 times in the last 10 years, you're doing something right. Our final score tonight, the Oakland A's 8, the Texas Rangers 3. And for Joe Morgan, our entire crew, I'm Dave O'Brien. This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. And now let's send it back to Bill Pito in the studio. Have a great night, everybody.